Welcome to this episode of Casted to the King, episode 13. We have actually gone on this long, and you are still watching. Why, I don't know, but I appreciate it. So, with me today is a wonderful human being. I am proud to call my father. This is Jack. This is Jack Mickle, Jack Pearson Mickle III. So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing great. So, all right. So, you've been here for the past few days,
yes.
And just to give people a little bit of a background on you. So, just give people a little bit of background on yourself. So, what is it that you do for a living?
What do I do for a living?
Or like your bring up per se. I mean, not your whole life story, but like the general nuances of it.
Well, for the purposes of this YouTube, what is this called? A cast? What is this called?
It's a YouTube show.
I'm not a technical guy.
Yeah.
Okay, a podcast. So sports wise, grew up as actually my first team that I rooted for was the Dallas Cowboys because of Roger Staubach, one of my favorite all-time players. And I lived all over the place in the Southeast. But then we moved to Texas in 1980. And a friend of mine who I went to school with said, I'm a Houston Oilers fan. And he was diehard Houston Oilers fan. And I was like, who are the Oilers? And then I just started watching them. And they became my team since 1980. Dan Pastorini and Kenny the Snake Stabler and Kenny Burrow and Billy White Shoes Johnson, Earl Campbell. I mean, all the way through Warren Moon, Chris Dishman. I mean, there's a whole lot of people that I grew up watching that I loved. And then I moved to Tennessee. Eventually, the Oilers moved to Nashville, became the Tennessee Titans. So I'm a Titans fan. I'm a Tennessee guy. I love all things Tennessee. So that's it. I'm living in Virginia, hopefully to move back to Tennessee in a couple of years. But for right now, that's for the purposes of this podcast, that's who I am.
All right. So along the way, being able to travel abroad, it seems like Tennessee was your favorite pit stop per se in the military. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, traveling abroad is not in the United States, but
abroad, like domestically in the United States.
Domestically, okay.
Yes.
What's the question? I always came back to Tennessee. Was that the question?
Essentially, I mean, but like, I would assume the Memphis was your pit stop favorite. Essentially, being here for 4 years.
In the Navy, yeah, because of Millington. There's a base there, but my favorite town is Nashville. Nothing against Memphis. It's just that's where I spent a lot of my time was in Hendersonville. Shout out. So I claim Nashville as my home city, so to speak.
All right. So we're going to kick off the show talking everything Memphis Grizzlies. And as we are recording this on a Sunday, the Sunday after, which David Roddy,
Big Body Roddy,
yes, had his coming out party for the Memphis Grizzlies,
yes,
and willed the Grizzlies to beat the Dallas Mavericks despite not having Luka and Kyrie. We were down 10 points, and we still were able to come back from them. For the Mavericks' point of view, this is their umpteenth, it seems like, double-digit loss. They lost by more than that, leading against the Lakers and blew that lead. But in terms of the Grizzlies side, we have now won back-to-back games versus a healthy Golden State Warriors team. And yes, it was a close win versus the Mavericks. And we are in that second spot in the West. So what was your thoughts on the game, particularly against the Mavericks?
So initially, I thought it was going to be. I went into the game thinking it was going to be a W for the Memphis Grizzlies. It started out there in the first, second quarter. Dallas kept it close all game long, or at least in the first half. Third quarter, though, it just something switched for Dallas. They just seemed to be hitting. I remember making the statement. I was like, they can't hit every shot. They seemed like every three they were throwing up, every prayer they were throwing it was going in. I think they were shooting like almost 40% three pointers in the third quarter, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then I even turned to you and said, it's probably time to go home. I think the Grizz are going to lose this one. Then the fourth quarter happened, and it's still just a little bit more of the same from the third quarter. But the Grizz, I tell you, it seems like their identity in absence of Ja is they're finding that they're leaning on one another more. Role players. You're supposed to silence that whenever we record. But role players, I think, are more embracing their roles. And the stars, the budding stars, like you're talking about Roddy and Bane. I mean, these guys are coming up and really, really, I think they're finding their groove with each other. And I think it's going to make them for a stronger team overall, especially when Ja comes back. You could run into the thing that, okay, from a chemistry standpoint, will Ja be able to fit in and everybody else still do the same? Now, obviously, he's a star. He's going to fit in. He's the man. But for chemistry's sake, for winning's sake, I think people need to be put in the positions that they're playing now so that they continue that forward momentum in winning games, and that's what they're doing. It's like the old Grizz, the grit and grind with it's with Zebo and Conley and all those guys. It just seemed like that's what last night reminded me of a little bit. They were just, the third quarter looked like they were going to get it blowed away a little bit. They were down, I think, 10 points or 8 points.
10 points, yeah.
And they just slowly started coming back, and then all of a sudden you heard the crowd was really starting to get into it, and I think they fed off that emotion, especially at home, obviously. So yeah, I love those types of teams. I hate elite teams that just, unless they're the Titans, I hate elite teams that just go in, they know they're going to win, they have all the players and all the money and stuff like that. I like that. I like the grit and grind kind of stuff. The guys who really depend on each other, family. And that's how they win games. I like that kind of a team.
Watching this Mavericks game, I'm like you going into it, thinking it's going to be W. Beat Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Jordan Poole, Draymond Green in that lineup with ease. And they're struggling against a Mavericks team without Kyrie and Luka, which goes towards my prediction months ago that if there was a team I don't want us to face the most, it would be Dallas, because that point, like Luka presents such a matchup nightmare scenario for the Grizzlies. Like even our best defender, a wing defender, which is Dylan Brooks, even he can't guard him as much as as he can, because he's just not going to be able to contain him, because Luka is that.
So where does Dallas stand on the playoff map right now?
Right now, they are not in the play-in tournament. Let me look that up right now.
Because you could be the best team, but there's always that one team who's just a matchup nightmare for you. Titans. It was always the Baltimore Ravens were going to kill us in the playoffs because we couldn't match up very well with them. I think that if the Grizz,
they are the number 8 team right now, and yeah, they're the number 8 team, so they will be subject to a play-in tournament.
Okay.
Versus the Timberwolves right now.
I agree, though. I wouldn't want to face them based on last night. Not that they couldn't. I mean, we were missing John.
Steven Adams.
Yes. And so, I mean, we and if you read the Dallas paper online article about the game last night, they were saying, well, Dallas was down their 2 starters, and they were having a rough time, blah blah blah, and they came back in the third quarter, and this, that, and the other. I'm like, well, hold on a second. Hometown news. The Grizz were down a couple of starters as well. Why don't you mention that? I can't stand hometown bias when you're supposed to be reporting the facts, and they don't always get the facts straight. So. But as you bring up a great point, matching up, Dallas would be a rough matchup with us, just from a player standpoint.
Yeah. So going into the game, thinking it was going to be, there is a part of my mind that I thought it was going to be some sort of a wipeout based on our lineup versus theirs. Mm-hmm. That did not turn out to be the case. And once again, last night just irked me with Dylan Brooks, like hatred right now. I shouldn't say hatred, because like anything good he does for us right now, I'm not gonna be like, how dare you do that for us? No, anything that contributes to win. But Duke cannot be jacking up shots. It's like Marcus Rowe, my coworker, said. It's like he seems to have the greenest of lights from Taylor Jenkins, and there was actually a point where he actually got pulled for David Roddy here, and in the moment he came in the third quarter, I mean, it was right. It was like right place, right time for David Roddy, and he was nailing shots that he was taking. So maybe this is a wake up call for Dillon Brooks, maybe. But if Roddy can put together a good 10 game stretch here, Memphis might have something. They might have something they can look forward to next year. I mean, maybe that was the plan all along, where they convert him to a 3, like a wing 3, and knowing that Dillon Brooks, you're probably going to ride him out for this year for his last year. And if you can't re-sign him, oh well, then that's when you have David Roddy coming into play here to take over the starting 3 spot. So Dillon Brooks is going to kill us in the playoffs. Well, ultimately, he is ultimately going to do it. And if it's like a 2-3 point game, we're gonna point to one of his few shots first before we go to Jaren, Desmond, or Ja for one of their missed shots.
One of the 11th commandment is, "Thou shalt not talk bad about your team, unless they're the Titans and they deserve it." So the Grizzlies, Dillon Brooks, I tell you, he's got a heart for the Grizzlies.
Yeah,
he speaks from the heart, which not all the time is a good thing. So from that aspect, he's got your back, right? Now, does he have the chops to back it up? Dillon Brooks, don't shoot 3-pointers. Please don't shoot 3-pointers. I don't think that is his gift. I think his gift is within the arc, right? Disrupting, right? And he's that guy that you can depend on as like for instance a big body tight end on the goal line. Maybe I think that's a Dillon Brooks, but he's out there shooting threes like, hey, I got this. And he went 1 for 6, I think, from beyond the arc.
3.
And I know it's only one game, but it just seems like it just seems lately that's an every game occurrence for him. I don't know if it's just a thing, a funk, but
it's been like that all year. And there's a game this year where the fans visibly and vocally booed towards him at the FedEx Forum, like after shot 7 or 8 he missed.
Yeah.
So this has been a growing occurrence. But when Dillon Brooks was, let me double check this. When did Dillon Brooks first came onto the Grizzlies? It was definitely during the phase of the grit and grind era for sure. Like he was on the tail end of that. He was coming aboard. So if I'm looking up his career stats right here,
these stats brought to you by
no one.
You need some sponsors, Josh.
Yeah. So he came aboard. Yeah, there you go. 2017, 2018. So he was here before Jaren Jackson walked through the door, and he was here 2 years before Ja Morant and Brandon Clark walked through the door.
He's got tenure.
So he's one of the better 10-year Grizzlies. Yes, but given that time when he was first brought on, when we weren't winning as much, he probably had the green lights from whoever our head coach was back then to essentially say, "Hey, shoot it. Just shoot it. Like we're not worried about winning. We're gonna probably get one of the lottery picks, and at the time it was in limbo with Boston. 2 good years. They didn't get it, thankfully. Got us Jaren and got us Ja. So maybe it's that mentality from all those years ago he still has of like, hey, this is how I was raised. This is how I was raised and brought up within this franchise, and I represent the last remaining connection piece to the grit and grind era. Without me, then there's no connection left to Mike Conley, Zebo, Marcus Gasol, and others there.
I don't think that's what he's thinking.
I'm not saying that is what he's thinking, but like from a outsider's point of view, maybe one can interpret it that way.
I just think that everybody's got a. I think everybody on that team, I don't want to say is a role player outside of job, but I mean, there's a lot of people that just their game is this, their game is, and I think we saw a lot of it last night. And once you start veering off of that and trying to be somebody you're not, just because you don't have a few of your star players or a few of your other role players, you step out of that comfort zone. I think that's where you run into your issues. Soon as we start getting our players, I know we can. Who was it? Clark, who just injured
tore
his
his Achilles. You're wearing his number. Yep.
So you're not going to get that play. But I mean, the other ones that are like Adams and Ja, when they come back, I think you're going to see a lot less of Brooks trying to insert himself into a role that he shouldn't be. And I think that's going to be a lot. So I think based on that, obviously matchup is unique, and you never know what you're going to get on a game-to-game basis. But I think with that prime, our players back, full speed, I think we can make a run for the conference finals.
It's going to be tough if we're able to put it together. But if Roddy shows up like the way he did,
yes,
then
Bane was showing out last night. I don't know what
he
it
wants
was.
He wants that new contract this offseason. He wants to get paid this offseason.
Bro had 9, 11 points or something like that in the first quarter. I mean, he was all over the court, and he was shooting them outside. He was going inside. He was tough. I was not surprised, but I was pleasantly low key amazed, at just how well he did last night. And I don't know. Again, I'm not a Grizz aficionado. But last night was an enjoyable game to see Roddy, number 27, which, by the way, is one of my favorite numbers because of Eddie George. But 27 show up and 22 Bane show up. I mean, they were really – and then the role players come in. And then you said our three-point assassin, number 10. What's his name?
Luke Kennard.
I don't know how – I know he hit a three-pointer, but I don't know how he's going to do overall. But I like what I saw last night. I really did.
So ultimately, and we'll close out the Grizzlies topic with one Ja Morant where let's just say that he has the most questionable season so far. He has MVP numbers, and then the reports come out back in July and then August about some domestic dispute with a teenager or whatnot. Us Memphians saw that and said, "There's nothing to see here. It's like the ultimate nothing burger. Like there's nothing to see here. And even if it did happen, there's no substantial proof that it did happen. It's just he said, she said, and whatnot." And then the last episode we did, I was actually going on a 5-minute defense spree of Ja Morant, and then his incident in Denver happened to where I had to cut that out, or else I am looking like an idiot. So, yeah, his gun incident that happened after the loss with Denver, not a good look and stupid move on his part. So, I know you have your thoughts on him, but I'm just gonna get it out of the way for me saying that whatever's going on with him, he needs to figure it out quick, fast, in a hurry. And I mean, if it's to the detriment of this season and he doesn't come back this year, then I'm not gonna fault him. Like if he's genuinely getting help, then let him get the help he needs. Like the last thing we need to hear on the news is breaking news: Ja Morant has committed suicide or has shot himself or something, or he shot someone, and he's in a whole new area of problems of his own. Like he has a daughter, he's got sponsorship deals left and right now. He's got that Supermax deal that the Grizzlies paid him, which looks like a better investment than what the Pelicans did with Zion. He's out again for another 2 weeks, so I told y'all that was going to happen. So a few episodes ago, so that man's injury prone. So yeah, Ja, I hope he comes back, but just in time for the playoffs. And I actually had this talk with someone that's a Grizzly savant at the church, saying that I honestly think that if and when he comes back this year, it's going to be a easing into the lineup. He's not unless he comes back game one playoff time, unless that's the case, which I don't think is going to be the case. Unless that happens, he's not going to be the starting point guard right off the bat. It's going to be Tyus Jones, and then Taylor Jenkins is just going to ease him in there. It's like,
sure,
okay, here's here's a little bit of snippet here and there of him as a backup point guard, similar to how he handled him as a rookie with his minutes and whatnot. And then there might or will come a moment where Grizzlies may be down 8 points in a game, and Ja's right there on the bench. He's just waiting. And then Taylor Jenkins says, take us home, Ja. Take us home. Become that leader again. Take us home. Kind of reminiscent. And you, being a Titan fan, maybe might remember this. Steve McNair went down with an injury. He was out for several weeks, said he didn't want to play football anymore. And then he had his particular game of redemption against the Steelers all those years ago when McDonald, or what was his?
Neil O'Donnell.
Neil O'Donnell goes down with an injury, and then Jeff Fisher looks over at Steve McNair and says, essentially, take us home. This is written for you.
Yeah, he had a bruised heart. That's why he was out of the game for a while. So,
yeah.
But I mean, look, John's 23 years old. And how much was his contract?
Over 230, I want.
Imagine,
rough estimate, yeah.
Imagine you're out of high school for 3 or 4 years, right? And you get over $200 million. A young man, prime of his life, healthy, popular in the city, right? Unless you have a solid foundation. I was as a Master Chief in the Navy that I was in the Navy for 32 years, and I was a Master Chief for 15 of those years. I dealt with a lot of young men and women, for that matter, but the men seemed to be the knuckleheads. And a lot of them, some of them would get into some pretty serious trouble, a lot of it legal. And it was my job to bring them along and provide that leadership, that father figure that a lot of them didn't have, especially being away from home. So the whole point is, hey, man, I'm not going to enable you to continue along with this behavior that you have. And that's what he needs. Yeah. And I'm not saying he should be excused from anything. Quite the opposite. He needs to be held accountable. Although his teammates are going to say, hey, I got your back. You do you, Ja. You get healthy. You get well, whatever. But, I mean, there's a respect level. These guys are out there putting it on the court night in, night out. Right? Like we saw last night, and Ja's not there. Why? Because he made a silly, stupid decision. Not just one, but multiple, but this one's kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
He does not need to be enabled, and he knows that. Everybody around him knows that. But he needs that person or persons who's going to pick him up and slap him around a little bit, because that's what he needs. He's the man, yeah, and he's got a lot of money. But that does not mean you can be a bad human being. And I'm not saying he's a bad human being. But when you continue to make these mistakes, you eventually become your decisions, right? Yeah. So he needs that. And so, yeah, easing him, if he comes back this year, easing him on from the bench onto the floor, I think is for 2 reasons. 1, he hasn't played in a while. 2, I think he needs to earn the respect. I'm telling you, they may say they respect the hell out of him, excuse my language, but he hasn't been there because of it's not like an injury.
Yeah.
They have. So he needs to earn their respect, and he's going to be the leader of this team. He needs to be the leader of this team on and off the court. Mm-hmm. I mean, come on, man. You have hundreds of millions of dollars. You're young. You're set. Your whole family is set for like 4 generations, right? Be the guy that you're supposed to be, right? Don't worry about all the hoopla. All the Instagram and Facebook. Not hardly anyone goes on Facebook.
There's no need for you to be a gangster in this situation.
Well, I'm not saying he's a gangster.
No. He tries to be. He tries to be with his latest actions.
Well, no, I think he's just doing what he's just. I think he really thinks he's just enjoying life, right? I mean, I made some pretty stupid decisions in my lifetime. I mean,
not that stupid.
Well, I mean, maybe not, but it's pretty stupid. I'll be, if anybody knew of some of them, I'd be embarrassed, that they were found out. I mean, because I was young and dumb. Mm-hmm. The older you get, hopefully the wiser you get. And I think he's going to learn this. Question will be, will he? Mm-hmm. There's one thing, they say knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. The application of that knowledge is power. So if he can apply what I'm hoping people are telling him and what he's learning, then he will be a wise person. If he gets that, he's going to be, man, the sky's the limit, bro. I mean, for him and the Grizz, if we can keep him around in a small market, man, Come on, man. I mean, that's how you enjoy life, right? Is not making stupid decisions that's going to negatively affect you or someone else. So I think he's going to get it. I hope he's going to get it. And I think that his teammates or whoever they've got to, I don't know, talk to him, counsel him, whatever. But I think he needs that role model to slap him, not physically, but say, hey, man, smarten up, bro.
Yeah.
And I think if he gets that on board, like I said, he's going to do great things on the court.
Yeah, when that Denver incident happened, one of the few things that went through, sprang through my mind was one he never had any problems coming out of college, but for someone who does coming from any sports franchise, and you're getting a player with questionable off the field things, you have veterans in that locker room that can not necessarily tutor him, but give them point them in the right direction per se. And when we brought in Ja, we ultimately traded away Mike Conley. We had Carmelo Anthony walk through the doors. We had Dwight Howard walk through the doors. By way of trades and releases, because we were trying to get rid of dead cap from Parsons and others on our roster, that Zach Kleiman was stroke of genius handling financially, because we were in a hellhole financially, especially with Parsons. But looking back on that would have not been a bad thing to have one of those, particularly Mike Conley, just to keep him around at least. Not necessarily to just tutor him or mentor him, but be that visualization of passing the torch, like him representing the grit and grind era, and then ultimately send Conley off the next year or so, and Conley and Ja have this kind of brother to brother kind of bond per se, to where maybe this doesn't happen. I mean, again, that's all 20/20 hindsight, but without mentors or without say people of our ilk, and we have someone to look up to that we are in their particular line of work per se. If you don't have mentors, then your compass is going to point in different directions versus pointing the solid north of this is the right way to go. So, but
we have in the military, you have that mentor you're talking about. I was a mentor, right? And I was mentored, and that was 24/7. We didn't take. We didn't have an off season in the military. You know what I mean? And we obviously weren't millionaires. So it was constantly in our face. Plus our job was, put, warheads on foreheads. So it's not like we're playing basketball. Different avenue. But, these guys make millions of dollars and they have off seasons. They have off time. And it's not, you can say you're family, but you're not around each other. Once you get off the court, you want to go home, spend it with your family or whatever it is that you do, to unwind a little bit, which I understand. There's a lot of pressure. You're in the public's eye, but there's not that family that says, "Hey, man, you're not going to go out. You're not going to brandish a gun and put it on your phone and then put it on the internet." There's not that, because they are individuals trying to do life the best they can on their own. You know what I mean? They're guys. They're young guys too. So it's not like you have a 50-year-old player on the Grizzlies who's can take him by the hand and say, "Hey, bro, let's not do that." So he ultimately is responsible for his own decision, and as a man who's going to be a proper product of society, to say, "Hey, I'm going to be the best father I can, the best player I can." The representative of the city that I can, that's what to me a man does, and he takes accountability for his or her act. Well, you can be a man, his actions. So I think if he does that, not just in words are cheap, man. Give me some action. Show me that you love me. Show me that you're contrite, that you did wrong, and here's how I'm going to do better.
Yeah.
Show me, because that ultimately is the ultimate test, because you can say anything, but how are you going to act? And as a man, if you can grasp that, if we can grasp, myself, right, as men, we need to grasp what is right and do that, indeed, not just in words. And then you show your children. Hopefully I showed you and continue to show you and our other children, and and everybody's looking at you. So that's what, to me, being a man is. It's not just you. You're responsible for so much other stuff that you don't even know, because you don't know people are watching. You don't know people are listening. So that's what he needs to grasp.
Seeing his father on the sidelines, like rooting for him and whatnot, I took one from that, because we hardly hear anything about, like, say, any other superstars' fathers that have been there. Like if that quite the opposite. There's like LeBron, like, famously says, he wishes he has that father. Like, he wishes he had that father figure, that he wants to be a better father to his children than what his father was. Mm-hmm. So that took heart in that, with John Morant's father being there on the sidelines almost every game, it seemed like. It's like, okay, so, I mean, he may not have that player, but based on his upbringing through college, through his time in the NBA before he got that contract, like, all the signs pointed towards, like, okay, this is a good young man, and he's got a great father figure. He has Ja has a daughter. Like, you just, like, putting that, like, giving the money to John Morant, like, the Grizzlies felt great about it. We all as fans felt great about giving him. It's like, yes, he has brought Memphis back on the map, if not more than that, in terms of putting us back on the map in the playoff picture, but elevating us from just playoff appearances to now playoff contention now. Just his sheer presence alone. And then whatever happened this offseason with that money. I mean, hey, like, it just seems to be the case where you get paid X amount of dollars. Like the old saying goes, the more money you get, the more your personality comes out. So maybe this has been, like, stowed away and we never knew about it. But I mean,
I think I like, it's like one of the dumb decisions I make. I didn't have a father figure growing up, so I didn't have that. The only father figures I had were in the military, and those were the guys who were, yelling at me, getting in my rear end whenever I did screw up, which was quite often, especially when I was young. So I understand what you're saying. A father figure is very, 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 very important. In sports, you see it, like in Tiger Woods and his dad, Michael Jordan and his father. Those were touching moments, especially when he won his first championship. So, I mean, you see moments of father-son in sports, and it's very touching, especially for guys. They don't, we don't typically show a lot of emotion, but you will see that come out when a father and a son bond on a court, on the grass, on the football field. Something it's just something special that guys understand. A father-son relationship. So, and I'm sure he has that with his father.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a mistake. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's a mistake. It's not like he didn't, thank God, kill anybody or hurt anybody or himself. So we can move on.
Yeah.
It's just that you have to have lessons learned, not mistakes repeated. Don't do the same thing over and over and over, especially not that. I mean, that's can't be doing that again.
Yeah.
But I think it's a mistake. I wouldn't blow it up to be something that, I don't think it has anything to do with money. I think it would have happened regardless. I think that it's just a young man thinking he was enjoying life. That was his way of enjoying life. I don't know why.
After a loss.
I got it, yeah. I mean, you saw Gronkowski out there dancing, half nude after he lost the Super Bowl. It's just how young people act sometimes, right? I mean, I did a little dancing in my youth, cutting the rug. So it's just the way you celebrate. And, that's what he was doing. So I'd cut him some slack on not crucifying him or thinking this is the end all. I think this is just hopefully a bump in the road, albeit a pretty big one, right? But he's going to move on. He's going to be good. I'm telling you, I'm hoping he's going to be good. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, all things for the best for sure, that we're hoping for the best for John Morant going forward. And getting to our next topic of the day. The Netflix characters have been in limbo in terms of whether they belong in the MCU or they outside the MCU timeline among particular fans. And then Daredevil first showed up in Spider-Man No Way Home. Thus got everybody's excitement for these characters back up. And then shortly after that, Daredevil got his own show announced on Disney Plus called Daredevil Born Again. Now it has been reported in the last few days that John Bernthal from The Walking Dead, from the Netflix Marvel shows as Frank Castle, the Punisher, will be returning in Daredevil Born Again.
That's good.
So
I like, man, that dude, I'm telling you, he can act the heck out of that role. I think he was born to play that role. And I think that I'm down. 10 out of 10 stars on this one. I really am. I love the Punisher. There's nothing I don't like about it. He's kind of like a...
What's your favorite part about it from what you've seen in the Netflix shows?
Because, I mean, come on, man. You're a guy, right? You take certain guy heroes, like a Jack Reacher, who just... He rips out your... He's got a certain moral code. He's got a certain moral code that if you violate that moral code, then all of a sudden you're on his list of you need to be dealt with, right? And he does it in a way in which like I wish I could go into a bar and just totally kick everyone's rear end like he does. You know what I mean? And then take all the punishment and still dish it out, right? I think that'd be... I don't want to do that. I'm saying I wish I could, had the ability to do that. As a military policeman, I was taught to, handle things like that. But truth be told, you go up against the Punisher, you're going to need about, 10, 15 other guys, right? So that's, I don't know. It's just something it's an alpha male, beat your chest kind of. I love the Punisher because, again, it's not just beating up people for no reason. It's beating up people for a quote unquote good reason. They were after his family. They were trying to kill him. And he didn't, hey, look, I want peace, but you ain't giving me peace. So guess what? You're not going to have peace, That's what and plus I like John Bernthal. I liked him from The Walking Dead. Didn't like his character, the way it ended up. I think it was in the first season. Second season? I think it's first season. I'm not sure. But anyway, I just like him as an actor. I think he's really good. And playing that alpha male role, I think it fits his character.
So before this news even happened, when they first hired writers for the Daredevil show initially, they have brought on 2 writers that have prominent work on Daredevil Season 2 and The Punisher Season 1.
Okay.
So when that news came up, that immediately raised the possibilities of, okay, you get these particular writers that have history with a particular character.
Right.
That, yes, you're doing a Daredevil show, but these writers were closely connected to this guy, Punisher, Mr. Frank Castle himself.
Frank Castle.
So
it's a cool name.
So when that news popped up all those years ago, I'm like, it's not if it's a matter of when we're gonna find this out, or if this is gonna be a big surprise of like an episode, like crazy surprise, like tune in next week. Like you see some skull, or you hear like a gun load up in the background in the dark somewhere. So we know this now. So with us knowing this, that means he's not going to have a cameo. He better not have a cameo role. That's the only thing that's going to backfire on this if this is a cameo role. What some fans are going in there being dubious as they may be, is that this is going to be on Disney Plus. This is not on Netflix. And there are those out there that may think that this is going to be Disneyfied for Punisher or the show in general.
But don't they have the rated R version of Disney Plus?
Yes, they do. And I was just about to bring that up.
Okay.
So,
segue. Brought to you by No One. Sponsor our show. Thank you.
Yeah. So Disney may be on the verge of selling Hulu to Universal ultimately. All roads lead toward that ultimately happening. There's the rumor that Universal owns the distribution rights to Hulk movies and Namor movies right now, if you want to do individual ones. There's nothing stopping Marvel from making those movies. It's just, it won't be Disney putting them out. It'll be Universal putting them out to their liking in theaters or on Peacock if they want to. So the rumor is that they're going to sell Hulu for $13+ billion in exchange for that cash and the distribution rights back to those two particular characters. That possibility remains out there, and if that possibility does come to fruition, Disney now has only one outlet to put their Radar stuff on via streaming service, and that's Disney Plus. And last year, even though Bob Chapek, not a lot of people liked him as the CEO of Disney, he did one thing right. He had a vision that a lot of people want to gloss over of what Bob Iger said back in 2017 when they acquired 20th Century Fox, now 20th Century Studios, when Disney bought that lump of properties. That included Daredevil. That included Deadpool, X-Men, Fantastic Four, notably. He was asked particularly, Deadpool's rated R, man. What are you gonna do with him? You're Disney. You're not gonna make him rated R, are you? He said, yeah, he's Deadpool. He's successful rated R. Mm-hmm. He's going to stay rated R. Mm-hmm. So, and he's going to be rated R within our confines of the MCU going forward, to which, again, like you can look it up online. It's there on Variety and Hollywood Reporter. This is not me making it up. This is all on record from the highly reputable sources that are Hollywood news these days. So the 10 Commandments essentially is Deadline, Hollywood Reporter, and Variety. Anything that those three put out, you take it as gospel for movie news and whatnot. So
not political stuff, just movie stuff.
Movie stuff.
There you go.
And so that's 2017. Then fast forward to now. No, fast forward last year, actually. This month, last year. Disney acquires the rights to the Netflix shows now. So now those Netflix shows can only be streamed on one place, Disney Plus. They are not on Netflix. So those that say they're going to Disneyfy the whole thing up, if they're going to Disneyfy the whole thing up, why go out of your way to get these shows onto your platform if you think that it's too R for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it's too R for our family brand per se, because these kids are like me. Like Iron Man came out, I was in middle or high school at the time. Now I am a grown man. I'm almost 30 years old. So yeah, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is over 10 years old. So subtract 10 from 29. I started watching this thing at 19 years old. Like around 19, 18, 17 years old. So you have that audience out there that has grown with age. They are never going to stay the parent-friendly age. These older fans that are gaining up there in age in terms of like their 20s, now going on 30s, now going on 40s, they're going to want something edgy. The Netflix shows did that, and them acquiring the Netflix shows and now having Punisher and the new Disney Plus show, Daredevil Born Again. This show is going to come out after Deadpool 3 comes out in theaters, after the fact. So what's going to happen, in my opinion, is that Deadpool 3 is going to come out, which has Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine. How they're going to work that in the storyline, I have no idea.
I know. He's like 80 years old now. I don't know how that's going to keep going. Of course, so is
he's
Tom Cruise, but he's still jumping out of planes and doing all sorts of stuff.
Deadpool 3 is coming out next year in September or October, November, depending on the date they switch it up. It's coming out in the fall of 2024. Then after that is Blade. Then after that is Daredevil.
Who's playing Blade?
Mahershala Ali.
Okay. I thought it was going to be a Jonathan Majors. I'm like, everything seems to be Jonathan Majors about now.
No, he's multiple Canes until further notice. I take that back. I don't know what's coming out first. Daredevil. I want to say Daredevil's coming out first before Blade does. For Blade and Daredevil in particular, those are going to be litmus tests that's going to be like the litmus test for Marvel and Disney, because they are already doing Deadpool 3 rated R. The question is, if that movie makes $1 billion or even $900 million, which would be the most of any of the other two Deadpool movies in the franchise, if it makes $850, $900 million or over $1 billion, that blows the door out of the water, like the water from the doors, or whatever the phrase is.
Blows it out of the water.
Yeah, blows it out of the water.
There you go.
it's going to blow it out of the water in terms of the narrative of only families and little children like fund this franchise. Essentially, like they're the ones going out to be. No, we grown adults want edgier stuff. Like keep the sex stuff out of it. Like there's only like. I've only seen Jessica Jones, and I've only seen, the first season of Jessica Jones. I've seen all 3 Daredevil seasons, and I've seen the 2 Punisher seasons. Mm-hmm. There's no, ounce of sexual R content in the Daredevil Punisher stuff. It's only R for bloody violence and a few F-bombs here and there, which I'm not saying, particular R is good. Introduce this to your children. Mm-hmm. It's like, this is tolerable. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm not saying that at all. But in terms of the hierarchy of the R rating content, you much rather see the violent stuff be approved and not the sexualized stuff approved. Because right now in PG-13 movies, if it's Lord of the Rings or Reigns of Power or some other action movie, the violence can be brutal in those movies, the only thing that you're not showing is blood, essentially, and gore. Yeah. So
no, I agree. I think Disney, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. What I don't want to do, and this is just me, the world according to Jack, I don't want to be preached to in any movie. Bless you. No, I don't want to be preached to in any movie, with any kind of political or don't tell me how to live, don't say I'm living wrong because I don't agree with your particular philosophy, right? Outside of that, I think movies are free game. I am like you. If I can't watch it in front of my wife or with my wife, i.e., there are certain movies that have sexual scenes that are just kind of, they're almost porn, right? I can't watch that with my wife. That's very uncomfortable for both of us. I like not violence. I'm a guy. I like guy movies. I can get down with a rom-com. I can get down with an animated flick, right? But I also like my guy movies, Punisher, a Jack Reacher, something like that. Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies. I love those things. I don't agree with everything they stand for personally. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the movie itself. I like those type of movies every once in a while. Well, probably half the time, right? That's just who I am. I'm not going to watch rom-coms all day and all night long because that's not who I am. So if Disney has that, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's earning money and you're not, like I said, preaching to folks, and you put a proper rating on it, then people should be forewarned. If you don't like it, don't watch it, right? I think that for Disney to operate the way they're operating outside of what I just mentioned before, I think The Punisher is rated R, Deadpool is rated R. You know what you get with Deadpool. I'm not saying this for the family. Matter of fact, it's not for the family.
No, it's not.
Punisher, not for the family. But you need to know that. So as far as adults concerned, I agree. You grew up watching a certain genre, and then you grew up, and now it's kind of like, okay, Mom, Dad, I'm no longer the Lion King kid anymore. I've graduated to a little bit more like Lord of the Rings. Then I graduated to maybe, I don't know, Saving Private Ryan, which is an awesome movie, pretty bloody in and of itself. So yeah, you're an adult now, so you kind of like. You are able legally to withstand those more violent moments, but don't change something that's working. That's all I said.
I think ultimately, when Deadpool 3 is a success, and it will be a success, when that is ultimately a success, it won't be long before we hear a month or a few weeks after the movie's out saying, Daredevil is going to be TVMA, which is the equivalent TV rating of rated R, essentially. And on Disney Plus, if you are a parent and if you don't want your child watching the series, there are parental settings on your controllers and on your accounts that you can set for set profiles that only a particular rating, like up to a particular rating, they will be able to see. Mm-hmm. And if they can crack your PIN code, get a different PIN code. So, in terms
Don't
of,
be like Joshua, where we had a pin code on our TV, and we wouldn't allow him to watch a certain movie. He says, "Well, I know the pin. It's blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Well, you're an idiot for saying you knew the pin code. Now we got to change it."
what movie?
I don't know. It was
It was rated R.
I don't know what it was. No, it wasn't rated R. It was to get out into something. I can't remember. I don't want to bore the audience, but it was something. It wasn't like, a nudie flick or anything like that. It was just something. It was a movie account that we didn't want you to have because you could buy stuff. That's what it was. I didn't want you to just go in there and start buying movies left and right to watch. And we were like, okay, pin, boop 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 boop. Oh, I know the pin anyway. Ho ho ho. God. So we changed it, and you were out.
I think this is going to be. I mean, when the news ultimately comes out, I mean, if anything in the, like, at the least, the episodes that he is in needs to be dubbed TVMA. You can do like a PG-13 for Daredevil.
Well, how can you do it without him?
No, I'm saying like for the episodes that he is in.
He should be in every episode. It's the Punisher.
The show's called Daredevil, Born Again.
Oh. I'm sorry,
The
audience.
character is showing up in Daredevil.
Never mind.
So, if at the least, the episodes that he appears in needs to be rated R, TVMA. You can have Daredevil be the gruesome fighter that he is, the certain topics that they tackle. You can do that within a PG-13 realm.
We need to bring the Punisher back then. I thought this was all about... I wasn't even listening. I thought this was the Punisher coming back.
Yeah, he's coming back in Daredevil Born Again.
No, I want Punisher to come back.
He is coming back.
No, I want the series to come back.
You want the show to come back. You
Yeah.
want there to be like a season 3
Yes.
out there, even though this is technically not a season 4 of Daredevil.
100%.
You want a fresh...
He was my favorite. And I didn't think I'd like it because it was like a guy beating up guys. I was like, what's so great about that? It was a good show. I mean, it had a good storyline, good writers, it seemed, good action, great actors. I mean, I thought I bought into it. Hook, line, and sinker. I loved it. I hated that it wasn't renewed on Netflix. So, dang, all this time I thought we were talking about the Punisher coming back, and we're talking about Daredevil. I know. I'm talking about the series. Pardon my son. He doesn't understand what I'm saying.
I mean, hey, if this goes off without a hitch, they just might do a show. Yeah. Then you got those
Disney, bring it back.
and then you'll get that little sect of fans out there saying, "Oh, the Punisher, should you be doing a character like him in today's environment of like guns and mass killings?"
Yes,
I'm like,
absolutely.
I mean, to that I say that has no connection whatsoever. They said the same thing when Joker first came out in theaters. There are multiple rumblings, like unsubstantiated rumblings, that, oh, you're going to put Joker out in theaters. There's going to be a couple of mass shootings at theaters now because of the topic subject. Like the topic
I don't know
subject.
why you watch movies, but I watch movies
for entertainment, to get away
entertain
from
myself.
real life.
Yeah. I like Lord of the Rings. I like science fiction. I like alpha male shoot 'em up movies, and it's not because I want to do those things. It's just I find it, the storylines, the actors, entertaining. That's all. I didn't like World War II. I didn't live through it, but I'm saying I didn't like the violence of World War II. But I liked watching Saving Private Ryan. There's a lot of war flicks that I like. It has nothing to do with I love war. It's just you enjoy that type of entertainment.
So we can give you a chance to defend yourself. For those that may be watching, you say the trigger word for some of them, alpha male. So what do you think of the place of having female actors being the lead roles, like the alpha females per se? Like, say, let me give you an example. Let's say a Captain Marvel, or say Emily Blunt in that Tom Cruise Edge of Tomorrow movie. Let's say, for example, even though it's a completely Disney film, Frozen with Elsa and Anna, like two strong female leads per se. Mm-hmm. You don't have an issue with that, right?
No, why would I? I mean, I know a lot of people don't like Black Widow. I love Black Widow as a character in the MCU. I didn't look at her. Oh, she's a woman, so therefore I'm not as interested. That's no. I mean, that I don't know what scene, what movie it was, but she was in there with getting ready. They were calling her to go get Hulk, And she was in
Age
there
of
with,
Ultron.
Yeah, she was in there with those thugs, those Russian mobster dudes.
That was the
And
first
she was
movie.
like, "Why are you calling me? I'm just in the middle of getting some information from these." And that fight scene was pretty cool. I mean, I like that. I have no qualms about. What I don't like is turning a traditional male character that was created male, and then turning it into a female role just for the purposes of appeasing certain people who want to see a female role in it. I don't like the.
You've seen Black Widow, right?
Yeah.
Taskmaster, perfect example right there.
Who was that?
Like the antagonist in Black Widow, like the character can memorize your fighting styles.
Oh yeah.
Traditional male in the comics,
Okay, I didn't know that.
a badass in the comics.
Okay.
Relegated to whatever that was in Black Widow to. No. Oh my God. There is so much I could tell you in a whole different video about Taskmaster and of how much of a badass he is. And we're talking about Deadpool. He gives Deadpool gives him a run for his money. He is the one character, if you go off the comics, that Taskmaster cannot memorize or get, because Deadpool has he breaks the fourth wall. He has a fifth mind that Taskmaster can't get. Yeah. So when they brought him in Black Widow, I'm thinking, okay, this has potential to. They better not kill off Taskmaster in a one and done movie. I mean, they didn't technically, but I mean, it just left the opportunity of oh, this character's out there. You can now place them into a Deadpool 3 or 4 going forward, or what I think they should do. And one of my dreams that happens. You know, how Pixar have their shorts, right? Before movies play? Now Disney's doing it too with their animated pics, with their shorts. Dream short. Punisher versus Deadpool.
Be good. Be good.
For a good 5-10 minutes, they just have an all-out gun war with each other. And
10 minutes too long. 5 would be good.
5 minutes.
Yeah.
And
it ends in a draw.
Yeah, essentially, because Deadpool can't die.
Yeah. Full of one-liners and stuff like that. No, I don't like a female role being created for political purposes. That's all. I don't care if it's a woman or a guy.
She-Hulk. Yeah.
I don't care. She-Hulk was created as She-Hulk. She wasn't replacing the Hulk.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
The character itself.
I didn't like
the show though.
I didn't like the female Ghostbusters because I think that was made for. First of all, I don't think the writing was all that great, but it was just created because it's all man's world. Let's turn it into a woman's world, and I'm like, okay, if you want to do that because it's earned, or I don't want to say earned. It's just I don't like things being done in a political purpose. If it was creative, if it was entertaining, go for it. I love it, but don't. It's okay, let's do Charlie's Angels as 3 guys now.
Oh,
you know what I mean? It's the same. That's what I'm saying. It to me, it has that same ridiculousness effect. That's all. I'm not a misogynist. I'm not that.
That'd
guy.
be Charlie's Devils if it was the guys.
No, well, but it has the same. That's the same principle. You see what I'm saying? So that's my qualm. I don't want to get political or anything on this podcast. That's not why we're here. I just don't. You asked the question and I answered the question.
Yeah. So with what was I going to... Oh, yeah. Switching genders, a gender switch role. Not a problem. For Daredevil, in season 1, you had that newspaper reporter. I forget the name of him. Kingpin ultimately kills him in, one of the second to last episodes. He is a traditionally white character in the comics.
Okay.
Switching that up from him being white to black made no difference whatsoever.
No.
Continuity wise and comics wise, when you understand the character that he was in the lore and also in the series, his skin color meant nothing. Now there are characters that skin color does matter, i.e. Black Panther. You cannot make him white. Miles Morales, Spider-Man, you cannot make him white. Peter Parker, you cannot make him black.
What do you mean? Spider-Man wears a mask. You can't tell what color they are.
The character Peter Parker, Miles Morales, you can't switch races on them. That's like that's
Oh, but
that's
they
what,
did.
that's what I'm talking about.
It's a new character. It's Miles. It's not Peter. So
Yeah, exactly.
they can be whatever.
Yeah, Miles is already a black. He's a black Hispanic character already in comics. So that's why I'm saying like there's no need for you to do a race swap with Peter Parker because you already have someone with Miles Morales,
which makes sense.
And you do not do a race swap with Black Panther for obvious reasons.
Oh, that will never happen.
With T'Challa, yeah, you don't make him a Russian dude or a white dude.
Yeah.
Like there are characters where the skin, the race, it means like Bruce Wayne. You cannot do him as a black man.
Why not?
Because for the blah, what's the word I'm trying to get at?
Philanthropic?
No, the philanthropist or
philanthropist. That's philanthropic. It's someone who has money and gives it to charitable organizations or actions.
But from the certain point of view, from the poor people in the city, they look at you like a regular billionaire, just laughing it up and whatnot.
That could be a black guy. Why couldn't it be someone who's black or Hispanic or a female for that matter? Just don't call him Bruce Wayne. There
are just certain characters that you don't do a race swap
that's
with.
the traditionalist in you, and I respect that. And I'm somewhat of a traditionalist when it comes to, if a character is created a certain way, then that character needs to stay that certain way, whatever it is. You're not, like you say, you're not going to make a White Panther. It's freaking ridiculous, right? Yeah. So it's kind of like in The Last of Us, in the second episode where instead of fighting the military, they were fighting these, undead fungi zombies. Because that was the purposes of, you didn't change the ultimate trajectory of the show. You just for licensing purposes,
narrative
artistic
purposes,
yes, you had to move on. And if you have to do that in a certain movie or a series by changing something, whether it be a skin color or a character's whatever, so long as it doesn't change the overall trajectory of the show or the movie or whatever, I have no problem with it whatsoever. Just don't preach to me, please. Enough with the preaching. I'm done with it. Yeah. Right? I don't preach to me. And I know people don't like to be preached to. Like, we can get on here and talk about Jesus all day long, right? People are like, I don't need to hear that. Don't preach to me. That's fine. That's your thing. Just don't preach to me on a movie, whether I, which way I lean on the aisle. I just, that turns me off. And so I want to be entertained.
That's one of the bigger falls of She-Hulk ultimately in the show is that it leaned more towards those tones and whatnot. So
I never saw She-Hulk. So
I don't know if it's the second or the third episode where her and Megan Thee Stallion in their end credits scene have a twerking scene.
Twerking?
Yeah.
She-Hulk was twerking?
To which I immediately turn, like, I'm not one of those, I'm not one of those folks that I'll take my control and throw it at the TV or what.
Was She-Hulk the entire time, or did she turn into She-Hulk? Does She-Hulk turn?
She has the will to turn to She-Hulk more so
was
than...
she twerking as a green She-Hulk?
Yes.
God.
Jeez.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when that happened, I knew Daredevil was going to be a show, so I'm like, you know what? I'll wait for the Daredevil scenes to pop up on YouTube.
Maybe he'll twerk.
No, God. You need to tape your mouth right now.
Twerking.
Yeah, tape your mouth right now. Absolutely not. Golly. I mean,
maybe that's what Deadpool and the Punisher will do in that 5-minute short is twerk. It's a twerk off.
It makes sense for Deadpool to do it because he's Deadpool. He can do it like to mock his enemies and like.
I can see Ryan Reynolds doing it without a doubt.
It makes sense. No, it makes sense for him to do it. And I guess in a sense it makes sense for She-Hulk to do it. Like,
nah.
I mean, because there are comics.
Hulks are not known for dancing
She-Hulk,
ability.
like
I don't
She-Hulk.
think. I don't think Hulks are known for dancing abilities.
Yeah, Hulks.
Look at Gronkowski. He's somewhat of a Hulk. Not a dancer.
Because I know. I mean, I'm not gonna say I know every She-Hulk comic there is written, but I know there are edgier comics that are not the general audience for me. But in terms of everything that the MCU has done up to this point, they do different genres, yes. They do different characters, yes. Different races, genders, yes. Yeah. But they present a story and an outline to where you can easily get hooked on it.
Okay.
Like Captain America and the Winter Soldier was a 70s, 80s spy thriller movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Ant-Man 1 and 2 is a heist comedy movie, essentially. Both of those are heist comedy movies, like a palate cleanser coming off of the Avenger movies. And then you
palate cleanser. I like that. That's
Yeah.
good. Huh. Little movie snack for you.
Yeah. Like you have different genres like that. Like obviously Guardians of the Galaxy, they're obviously sci-fi. It's a sci-fi fantasy genre, but these stories were so carved out very well that the average fan can easily hop on and say,
Yes.
this looks interesting. Yes. This looks like, not all of them are going to say incredible, but they will say like, these, like, I can see said character in me. Like, for example, you see yourself in Punisher. I kind of see myself, like, in terms of the Daredevil references. If there's a character I could lean in towards of, like, say, I could see myself as him, it'd be Foggy Nelson. Is Daredevil's avocado assistant at law.
So yeah, I get that. So if you could be any superhero, not a superpower, but who would that superhero be?
Yeah, superhero, Spider-Man, easily.
You would be Spider-Man? Why?
Spider-Man, like, I mean, maybe it's just me growing up and loving the comics and the storylines that he's had. There are some that are not good. One Last Day. I think it was the Mephisto comic line where it was so bad. Like in the Clone Saga, it was not good either. I mean, why Spider-Man? Like he is. I mean, and I think that's a general thing for the of why Marvel's been more successful than DC is because DC you have these god figures, like even Batman. Like these are gods. These are gods. They are
Thor.
Like, they can't be like the everyday man per se. Like even with Marvel, with Thor, like you saw in the first movie when he was stripped of his powers, like how human he is. Like that's the thing I love about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that it presents these characters like they're human. They're human like you and me, and they've been given either a gift of ability or financial gifts or whatnot, or superpower gifts of going about their means and whatnot. And for Spider-Man, at least growing up and reading the comics and whatnot, and I mean, yeah, I didn't have comic books, obviously. It was just like looking up online, what's the storyline? I'm reading the storyline like it's a book, essentially, like a hardback book, essentially. Like I can see myself in him. Like I'm not saying I've had an uncle being shot. I'm not saying
you can identify with him. Is what you're saying?
Essentially, yes. Yeah. So,
did you ever want to get bitten by a spider?
No.
No, not even a radioactive one.
No.
Oh man.
God.
I would. My superhero would be Swamp Thing. I think because he's a loner.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah, Swamp Thing. He's a hero. Swamp Thing. You don't know who Swamp Thing is?
I know who Swamp Thing is.
Yeah.
They're gonna do his own movie in the new DCU.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Swamp Thing. He's a superhero. He's a loner. He's got a moral set of codes. You know, good guy.
I must care for the green.
Are you being anti-heroist on me?
No, I'm having this flashback of you telling me that Cruella with Emma Stone, being in your top 5 Disney movies of all time.
That I'm telling you,
I'm having flashbacks. And
if you've never seen Cruella, and you don't have to be a Disney fan or even seen 101 Dalmatians to enjoy this. It was the soundtrack.
It was a Cruella origin story. Yeah,
it was the soundtrack. And then how they brought everything, to a nice little neat, tidy bow at the end. And it wasn't rainbows and sunshine and unicorns the entire movie at all. I thought it was a cleverly written Disney movie that, I won't say top 5 overall, like, all my movies. But as far as a Disney film, yes, top 5, without a doubt.
What's your other 4 then?
Oh, man, I don't want to go into that here. No one wants to hear that.
Cruella on top. Jeez. I can name 5 like right off the bat that would dethrone them in a heartbeat.
That's you. That's your personal choice, which I understand and respect.
Yeah.
Respect mine. Okay?
I respect it.
I like
it's just Swamp Thing. It's like, okay, I'm not dissing you.
It came out in the 80s. The original movie came out in the 80s.
Oh man, the
old I remember a lot of stuff. That was back when HBO first started out, and they weren't 24 hours. They had actually cut off a little after midnight. Most TV did, actually.
Yeah.
With the singing of the Star Spangled Banner, and then a snow, right? And then it'd come on around 6:30. For those of you young folks out there, that's how TV really was. You had 4 channels: ABC, NBC, CBS, and PBS. That was it. And you were the remote control as the child. Hey, turn it up, turn it down, turn this channel. Hey,
adjust the
turn
antenna.
the little knob there. Yeah, and get the aluminum foil out, and but that's a lot.
Unhook the VCR and then plug in the antenna.
VCR. There was no VCR back in the day, bro.
I didn't have
color.
That's what you regulated me to as a child.
Well, so a lot of the shows that I like now, or I should say, a lot of the things that I like now have their origins from, because I was born in '69, but the '70s, I guess I grew up in, but I don't. I didn't remember half of them because I was so young. But the latter half of the '70s and all the '80s, my growing up time, right? That a lot of the things reminds me or pulls me back to that. I can't go back in time, obviously. Although if I had a superpower, that would be my superpower, is to control time. But that's what Swamp Thing is to me. I don't want to be Swamp Thing. I just think I like that hero. There's just something about him. I don't know. It's reminiscent. It's one of those things that you just it's kind of like a group, a band, a song you like from way back when that now is kind of corny, right? But then it was like, hey, it means something to you. So when you hear it now, it kind of brings back memories, pleasant ones, hopefully. So that's what Swamp Thing does to me. I like that movie. Barbara. I can't remember the female that was in it, but she was in it, and very believable character. It was a corny movie, but I like Swamp Thing, and they're remaking it.
Yep, and I honestly can't wait to see what they do with it, because at least on what I've seen from the Injustice games, Injustice 2, and then more like nuanced, like find out more about the character. Like his opposite is another Batman villain. It's Poison Ivy. That's like his opposite. Like he's more so like it's in his name, the swamp, the green. Like that's what he protects, and he's a loner in there. Poison Ivy's on land and like deals with the plants and whatnot. So
I thought Poison Ivy was a chick.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, okay, all right. Excuse me, a female.
What is a woman? Yeah.
What is a woman?
Jeez, today's culture. All right, and to close this off with a bow, the one thing we share as father and son and growing up is being Titan fans.
The misery. I could have been a Patriots fan, and you would have known victory, or a Steelers fan. You would know what it's like to be a champion. Alas, poor child, you are a Titans fan.
Yeah, unfortunately.
And you do not know.
I've known nothing but misery.
The joy of champions.
I've known joy of getting number 1 seeds, and then the heartbreak, and then the heartbreak that was.
I'm sorry.
So it was just reported that the Panthers gave up a haul for the number 1 overall pick, which leaves, in Tennessee point of view, out in the cold, essentially. So.
Not yet. It does.
So
it only seems that way.
So where do you see the season going this offseason, and where do you want it to go?
I can't answer the first question because I don't know what free agency holds, and I don't know what the draft holds.
I'm asking you, like, what do you want to happen?
Oh, what I want to happen?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm Rand Carthon, the GM, and also the owner, because I need the owner's permission and money to make things happen, right?
Yeah.
Assuming the head coach, who is also co-GM in my realistic opinion with Mike Vrabel. So what I would want to happen is I would shop Tannehill hard. I mean, get value for him now. And I'm not saying I don't like Ryan Tannehill. I love Ryan Tannehill. I think he brought a culture and of winningness to this team as a quarterback that we hadn't had since Steve McNair. He's a good guy, personally. I mean, I don't know him personally, but from all accounts, he's a good guy, right? He's not somebody you could root against, so to speak, right? He has value. He's 34, 35 now, so this is be his last. If he gets another contract, that'll be his last contract as a starter. And he won't. I'm thinking he's not going to come back to the Titans after this year, after this coming season.
It's going to be very.
So I would say this: I would shop him hard, get value for. I don't care if it's a 7th round pick. I don't think it'd be that low, but get something for him. Start Malik. 100% start, not because I think Malik is the end-all be-all. I love Malik. He went to Liberty University just like my daughter. I love his heart. I think he's got tremendous physical talent. He's got a rocket arm. I don't know that he's got the touch. He can learn, but right now I don't know that he has the touch on the ball. And the reason why I say start Malik is because I think our offensive line, I would shop. Okay, so let me go ahead and answer the question. Shop him hard, get a value for him. I don't care if it's a 4th round draft pick or whatever. I would sign Mike McGlinchey, and I would sign another
tackle,
Jason Kelsey. I'd pursue him hard. Sign Jeffrey Simmons to his long-term contract, right? So I've got McGlinchey, I've got my center in my draft. I'm picking up the best left tackle I can get.
Paris 100% Johnson from Ohio or that new Northwestern.
2nd round, I'm getting me the best guard available. Okay? So I've got my line there. I got my line. I'm assuming you're resigning Nate Davis as well. Yes, Davis, NPF. So I've got McGlinchey, right tackle, my new bomb left tackle from the draft, right? I've signed a guard, and I've signed a center, right? That's my offensive line. Let Malik sit behind that offensive line, see what you got. Just see what you got, man, because we've seen Ryan Tannehill's ceiling. We've already seen it. It was as good as the AFC Championship, no more, right? That was our window. It's closed now. So don't force a square peg into a round hole. Get rid of him. Get value for him. Build your offensive line. Start Malik, see what you got. He may be the next, I don't know, Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. Who knows? We don't know yet.
Justin Fields at the least.
He didn't have good coaching. I'm telling you, he didn't have good coaching. And I'm not saying we have good coaching now, but I'm saying I'm hoping, I could wave a magic wand, we coach him up behind a decent, he ain't got to be elite, but it's got to be a very good offensive line. Derrick Henry, I love Derrick Henry. I love him to death. If I can get something for him, though, he's gone.
Bye, yeah.
Give me draft picks or give me a darn good player that I'm looking for, or two, actually, for him. That's what I want for him. And the reason being is because, yes, he's the king. I love having him. I really don't want him to go anywhere. But I'm the GM. Excuse me. I'm the GM. I got to make things happen long term. He's got maybe one good long contract in him, and that's it. Running backs, especially as long as he's been ridden hard. He ain't got much left in the knees. So I would say get value for him if you can. I need a back who can give me 1,000.
At least 1,000,
800 to 1,000 scrimmage yards, whether it be running or catching screens or whatever the case may be. I don't need a 2,000-yard rusher to be an effective offense. Look at the Chiefs. They didn't have it. The Eagles didn't have it.
Bills
didn't have it.
Chargers.
49ers didn't have it.
Going down the list, yep. Keep going down the list.
Outside, and I'm trying to think, outside of Chicago Bears, 1985, I mean, I can't remember a run-heavy first team with a running back who could give you. He didn't get 2,000 yards, but he gave you, a lot. I think it was a 1,500 or 1,800-yard guy with Walter Payton. So we had Earl Campbell for years, and we went to the AFC Championship. That was it. So a running back you need, especially in cold weather, you need it in playoffs. You need to control the clock. But I don't need a 2,000-yard rusher. I need an effective rusher or, a running back. That's what I need. I don't need King Henry, right? So get value for him. You're like, oh, my God, you're blowing it up. Yes, I'm blowing it up, man.
You got to, yeah.
I'm blowing it up. We got to face reality. We don't have the cap space to be messing around like the Bears can. And, some of these guys who've got, over $50 million in cap space. So that's what I would do, right? Start Malik. I draft a quarterback, maybe round 4. The guy from Fresno State. I like him. I like him a lot. He's got a good head on his shoulders. I like Hendon Hooker. People,
26 years old, 27 years old.
I don't care about the age. because Tom Brady and all these guys are in there, Aaron Rodgers, they're elite quarterbacks, obviously, but they've shown physically they can stay in the game longer. It's not like back, in the 70s and 80s. I mean, if you were a quarterback, you were a sitting target back there. You were getting punched in the nose. You were getting, clothesline around the neck. You're getting concussions left and right. They don't do that nowadays. So you can stay there longer if you have a decent line that's going to protect you, right? So that being said, I would get me a quarterback in the draft. I like the guy from Fresno State, Hendon Hooker. He's not a system quarterback. I'm telling you, he had a lot of reads to do pre-snap, and he had to do it quickly because they were doing it. They were snapping the ball within 10 seconds of the previous play, right? So and
Chip Kelly of the South.
Well, he had touch on the ball. He could throw it a mile, and he on target. And he didn't throw any interceptions. I think he threw 5 all year, right? I think I can't remember how many, but they led the nation in offense.
I think he had 2 before the South Carolina game.
So, I'm still in mourning over that game. But anyway, I think that's what you need. I mean, draft somebody like that. The Patriots, they draft a quarterback every year because you never know what you're going to find. So that's what I would do. I think we need help. Our defense, man, I like our defense. Don't let Jeffrey Simmons walk, Ran. Don't let him go. You need that body. He's a great player and a great member of Nashville. So as a GM, that's what I would do. I would not stick 1 year more with Henry or Tannehill unless there was absolutely no partners to be made with a trade.
And then realistically,
I think realistically we stick with Ryan. We stick with Derek. We draft.
Running back, essentially.
Yeah. What about a running back?
Like we're running it back.
Oh, running it back. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Yeah. But then you put yourself behind the 8 ball because next year, unless you're getting rid of Malik. I mean, I don't know. I'm not there in practice. We saw Malik. It wasn't pretty. But I don't think Todd Downing, the guy who got his plays from a milk carton, I don't know where he got his plays from. But the guy, obviously, he wasn't good in Oakland, right? He wasn't good with us calling plays as an offensive coordinator. So
good luck, Aaron Rodgers, if you're going to the Jets because he's your passing coordinator.
Yeah, I don't see how all of a sudden he's going to be good. Bill Belichick was a decent coach with Cleveland. They fired him, but his second go around with New England, oh my God, he's elite, right? Hall of Fame, probably the best coach ever be. Todd Downing, not so good in Oakland. He could have come to us and just been awesome. No, not so much. That's who Todd Downing is, right? So I think we suffer because of that. You need to know what you have this year. Use 2023 as the year where you evaluate. Plain and simple. And if you can, I don't want to say save money because I think if you have money, you need to spend it. But spend it wisely towards the future because we got 25 free agents, 20 of which are unrestricted. Who the heck, GM, John Robinson, thanks. I love you. You brought us out of the depths of turmoil. But, man, how do you have 1 year where you have 25 free agents, 20 of which are unrestricted? Not all of them are key players, but still, you gotta space that out some way. So that's what I would do. In my expectations for this year, I think we're going to go 8-9, 9-8. If we catch lightning in a bottle, maybe 10-7. Can we win the South? Sure, we can win the South. But I'm thinking that the South is going to consist of Trevor Lawrence. It's going to consist of probably Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud with the Texans. And who knows who the Colts are getting. I hope the Colts get Anthony Richardson. That would be awesome because I'm not believing Anthony Richardson is going to do anything worthwhile in the NFL. I don't.
You said the same thing about Lamar Jackson.
I did, and I was wrong. He's not, but I stick to it. He's not a quarterback. He is a runner who can throw. He is not a typical pocket passer. He's talented as all get out, but look, his body can't take the punishment of a running back as a quarterback, and that's why he spent half the year off the field because he was injured. I mean, you can't have a quarterback. You can't have a runner who's your quarterback. You need a thrower. You need a
you need a nice balance of the two. Like Justin Herbert can run, but his priority is
Josh Allen can run. Patrick Mahomes can run. Right? Jalen Hurts. He's kind of a runner who can throw, though.
He can throw.
Truth be told,
he can
throw. He can. He's that's what I'm saying. He's kind of threading that needle there. But
we'll see what Justin Fields does this year.
I need a quarterback who can run. not a runner who can throw. I just can't have that.
So here's the list of free agents for you. So maybe this will ease your mind. So some of these players we have already released. So here are the list of players that are unrestricted free agents or restricted free agents.
Yes.
Bud Dupree, we cut. Taylor Lewan, we cut.
Bye.
Zach Cunningham, we cut.
Bye.
Ben Jones, we cut. Austin Hooper, that was 1 year deal. Jeff Swain, 1 year deal. AJ Moore.
Whoa, when you say 1 year deal, we signed him to a 1 year deal?
Yeah.
Jeff Swain?
No, Austin Hooper. And Jeff Swain, yeah. Or was it 2 years? I want to say it was
Jeff Swain?
I want to say Jeff Swain was a 2 year deal 2 years ago. We signed him to.
Okay. I thought he was a free agent this year, though.
He is. He is.
Well, then.
I'm listing off who is scheduled to be a free agent tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
By
I got
time-
it.
When free
All
agency
right. Don't
starts.
sign Swain.
Yeah.
Hooper, yes.
AJ Moore, safety. Don't know him.
Yeah.
Randy Bullock, kicker.
Gone.
Cut him. Lonnie Johnson, corner. Don't know him.
No, he did well when he was in. He just not.
But he's not your.
He's
but
not a starter.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
because of injuries.
Yeah.
So
No,
we're
I
going to
gotcha.
designate that as an injury signee. DeMarcus Walker, maybe you got to bring
I like
him back.
him.
Yeah. Dontrell Hilliard, our second running back. Maybe you make a play for him or not. Maybe you finally hand it off to Hassan Haskins as your number 2 running back. Dylan Cole, inside linebacker. He's been with
Yes,
us for a few
I want
years.
him.
Yeah. Trenton Cannon, running back. He's gone.
Yeah.
Terrence Mitchell, God no.
No.
Bye.
Yeah.
Mario Edwards, defensive end. He actually, he was really good coming in for. He is a Mario
He's a
Edwards.
diamond in the rough.
He was a fill-in for Jeffrey Simmons with him being injured, so that's injury designee. Corey Levin, you were just mentioning the other day, he's scheduled to be a free
We
agent.
need to re-sign him.
Joe Jones
For depth.
outside linebacker. Never heard of him.
Yeah.
Andrew Adams signed. He was the signee.
Cornerback?
With, the safety. He was the safety signee after Amari Hooker got injured. So that's an injury signee.
Okay.
LaRaven Clark, right tackle. That's an injury signee. Deshaun Hand, defensive end. That's an injury signee. Joshua Klug.
Hand did fairly well. I mean, he wasn't.
But he was a injury signee
No,
to
I
where
gotcha.
you bring
Yeah,
him in.
he
and
was an
he's a free
emergency
agent,
fill
and he's
gap.
a free agent.
Yes.
The upcoming year.
Yeah.
Nate Davis.
Sign.
Yeah, we'll hopefully sign him. Joshua Klug, corner, but
Sign.
he's a special teams dude, so you could probably bring him back. Tier Tart.
Sign.
Nick Westbrook Akine. Wow. He's a 4. He's a 4 at most. He's a number 3 receiver.
He needs to be paid accordingly.
Yes.
He should not be paid as a 1, 2, or 3.
Our favorite receiver, Cody Hollister.
Why does he keep popping up? He's like the groundhog who pops up. Hey, I'm here for another season. If I see my shadow, why? I mean, come on, make a break. I think he's hey, look, I'm a fan of the underdog, and he's definitely an underdog. But I mean, enough's enough.
Jeez.
Enough's enough with him.
Every time he was on the field, this is the downfall of Todd Downey. When a particular player is on the field and you're running the same formation in play,
You know who's getting the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It
It was a Swain or a Hollister or a Nikeen Westbrook or Keeney, whatever his name is.
Nick Westbrook Akine.
Yeah, one of those three was definitely getting the ball if they weren't running it.
No, I mean, the point is that whenever Cody Hollister's on the field, that man, Derrick Henry, is always 9 times out of 10 is getting the ball.
Yeah.
Because we ain't drawing up plays for Cody Hollister.
Well, we
Especially,
shouldn't be doing it for Jeff Swain, but we were.
Especially if he is the only wide receiver out there.
Oh, yeah, I know. One wide receiver.
Yeah.
Who's getting the ball?
And Andrew Brewer, center.
Need him. Well, if we sign Levin, then we don't need Brewer.
David Long. That's going to be interesting
Yes,
right there.
I like him.
Naquan Jones, nose tackle.
Yes.
That may be interesting indeed.
You need him because you can't keep Jeffrey Simmons out there, every play. You got to have depth or
Jones or
rotation.
Tart? Jones or Tart? Who are you signing between the two? I'm picking Tart.
Yeah, I'd say Tart.
And our favorite left tackle, Dennis Daly.
Oh, let me think about this. No. Come on. He was the worst scored
That's
out
a list of free agents.
left tackle with the Panthers.
Robert Woods. He left. So yeah.
Yeah, and he texted what? Freedom. See
free.
you, pal.
No, he said free.
Free. Yeah, see
And
you,
then
pal.
just
Don't let
say
the door hit
agent.
you. All right. So I would say, yeah. So Daly was the worst rated out of all left tackles, starting left tackles in the NFL, and we signed him. And guess where he wound up? The worst rated left tackle out of all the left tackles. He was a freaking statue there. Maybe he's a good guard, because I think that's his natural position. It's guard, not a tackle. But there you go, Titans coaches.
The many false starts and holdings on Daly that just killed our drives last year. So I bring up this list here because I can maybe say 5 of those players are key starters that we can bring back, or role players we can bring back. The rest of them are injury fill-ins.
Yes.
So
I get what you're saying.
So when you're saying 20 plus,
it wasn't as bad as it seems.
Yeah, exactly. So
no, I got you.
A more inflated number than what it actually is on the surface.
Yeah. John Robinson, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to talk bad about you.
I wasn't trying to defend the man. So you lay out what you want to do for Tennessee if you were Rand Carthon, or if you are Jack Mickle, the new GM, reporting for duty.
Man, that would be so. I would
Amy
love
Adams.
to be it. You know, if I had my dream job, that would be it. Either the owner or general manager
You'd be
of
the
a
owner
professional
first.
football team.
You'd be the owner first.
Oh man, I would love it. Are you kidding me? God.
The last episode we did with Aaron Austin and MJ, the topic was who's safe before the Bears traded away their number 1 pick. Who would we say is safe or not safe from a potential trade for number 1 overall between Henry, Simmons, and who was the
Tannehill?
Tannehill. No, not Tannehill. Oh,
Byard?
darn. No, not Byard either. Jeez. I'm having such a brain fart right now. Oh, Lord.
I mean, we don't have a lot of players on our team that you would trade for, so the list is short.
I think
Byard, Tannehill, Henry, Taylor Lewan when he was with us.
Oh, no, it was the two of them. Derrick Henry and/or Jeff Simmons. So I made the argument that Jeff Simmons is the more appealing piece if you want to grab your franchise quarterback. Now, that was hindsight before the Panthers did what they did. Now, with the Panthers doing what they're doing, it makes it all the more likely that we are going to re-sign Jeffrey Simmons.
The Panthers said they're still open to trade.
Why?
Well, why not?
You already traded.
No. Not trade back to like 32. Like trade with the Colts or the Texans. That's what they're saying. To get some of the stuff that they lost with, the picks that they did get.
Then why make the trade at all? That makes no sense.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you've seen Draft Day with Kevin Costner. Maybe it's something like that.
One of the corniest movies.
Are you kidding me? Kevin Costner is God's gift to acting.
So
don't you dare talk bad about Kevin Costner.
So unrealistic.
Love you, Kevin Costner. Don't listen to him, even though you had the same accent in every character
movie
you played. Don't understand. He could be an Irish Outlander, and he'd still be like talking in an American accent. I don't know. I love Kevin Costner. I like that movie. That movie was awesome. Draft Day? Are you kidding me? You pancake eating. I love that movie. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe. So the Panthers have the number 1 pick. They need a quarterback. Without a doubt, they need a quarterback.
It's going to be Bryce Young or Stroud, you would think.
Yeah. But to make it enticing, you never know what the Colts would do, because the Colts pick 4. Right? Panthers need a quarterback. Texans need a quarterback, right? That's CJ. Should be CJ and Bryce out. Do you really want to roll with Will Levis or Anthony Richardson? Unless you think that guy from Fresno State or some other quarterback, maybe the guy from McGee from Stanford, maybe if you think that person is there you go,
another Stanford quarterback in Indianapolis.
I mean, I'm like, I don't know. I think the Colts could make a move up. And maybe you're sold on somebody else as the Panthers. Maybe you don't need a CJ or a Bryce. Maybe you think you can roll with a Will Levis or an Anthony Richardson or something like that. I mean, I don't know.
To stay on topic,
that is on topic.
To talking Titans.
No, I'm sorry.
To talking about the Titans. Is
yes.
I'm going to start realistically of where.
So your point is valid. So Jeffrey Simmons is the more enticing now that the Panthers or whatever. Still, if you want to move up to 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
You still have Jeffrey Simmons.
Not 2. No. Do not trade him to Houston.
Oh, no. Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely
You're right.
not.
Don't trade him in-house or in the division. So if you want to go up to 3, who's 3?
The Cardinals.
Cardinals. You want to go up to I don't know. Do they need a Jeffrey Simmons? I mean, anybody could use a Jeffrey Simmons, but do they need specifically that position.
For a second, I thought Chandler Jones was still with him. No, he's with the Raiders right now.
I don't know. I don't know the Cardinals as well as maybe I should,
Yeah.
but
they just lost J.J. Watt to retirement.
But you do have Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry and Kyler Murray. That's kind of like if the Titans were to take Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in the same backfield. That's pretty sexy there. I'm not a big Lamar Jackson fan, but as far as having to be a defensive coordinator and to plan for that, that's interesting.
So in terms of realistically, for quarterback, there's 3 options on the table. Keep Tannehill and run it back. Keep Tannehill and run it back. The Mike Vrabel isms that you can think of right now. And
It's Jeff Fisher football. Win by 3 points.
golly, that's what it's looking like. That's what it looked like last year, which is the more hair-pulling, frustrating thing. Option 2, unlikely option, too rich for Amy Adams' blood, is you sign Lamar Jackson to $200+ million for a signing bonus. As you want to talk about rejuvenating a franchise and getting a market such as the Nashville area super stoked. How poetic would that be anyway?
With Lamar Jackson?
Yeah. And how poetic would it be for us to get Lamar Jackson after the Ravens poached us of Steve McNair back in 2006?
2 first-rounders and a 4th-round pick? Is that right?
Just 2 first-round picks.
Oh, okay. So 2 first-round picks.
And if the Ravens don't match the contract offer, they do.
So they would get our 11th pick this year and
next
next year's whatever first-round pick, right?
Yeah.
I thought they got more than that.
It's going to cost you a pretty penny, though. It's going to cost
Oh,
you
yeah.
a pretty penny.
Fully guaranteed.
Yep.
For a guy who runs and gets injured.
The signing bonus is going to be too rich for Amy's.
And then no receiver wants to come to your team because they know that you're not a pass-happy team. They don't like going there because they know they're a running team.
We don't know that.
It's kind of like no one wants to come to the Titans because they know we're running with King Henry.
No one wants to come to the Titans because everyone knows what a mediocre franchise we are.
No state income tax. You get to keep more of your money. So if you live in anywhere,
Franklin,
if you live in California or D.C., Baltimore area, come on to Tennessee. You get to keep probably at least 50% more of your money.
So another option, Aaron Rodgers. It looks like he's either going to the Raiders or he's going to the Jets. He's not going. I can't see at this stage where we are today of this recording of us getting Aaron Rodgers. I just can't see it happening.
I think he'd go into the Jets, but I don't want a quarterback or any player for that matter, but especially a quarterback who's supposed to be the leader of your team, basically saying I'm too good to participate in off-season programs, workouts, and preseason, all that kind of stuff. I'll come in when I want to come in. And I'll start on the first game because I'm Aaron Rodgers. No, come on, man.
Yeah.
Be a teammate. How about that?
And the third option,
that was the third option.
No. I was just throwing it out there. Like the 3
so this is free. Okay. The fourth option.
The 3 options are running back with Tannehill.
Yes. No. No, the fourth option is to get rid of Tannehill.
I'm talking about for quarterback options going into
the future.
That is
a quarterback option.
Yeah, you run it back with Tannehill. Second option, it's too rich. It's not going to happen. Lamar Jackson, it's not going to happen. We're not going to get Lamar Jackson as much as I personally would love to see him and Derrick Henry in the backfield. That would bring back the days of what I thought Vince Young and Chris Johnson were going to do when they were both playing at their peaks. At their peaks.
Come on.
At their peaks between the end of 2009 and the beginning of 2010.
Ain't he the one who said, who was it that said honor Landry? That was Vince Young, wasn't it? At the draft. Didn't Vince Young announce Harold Landry's name at the draft?
Did he?
And he called him honor Landry?
I thought that was Javon Curse.
No, I don't think it was Curse.
I don't think it was Young. I don't remember Young ever doing that.
I thought it was. Anyway, I'm sorry. Off topic.
Third option. And
Rodgers,
and we're in agreement here. They're in blowout mode. Roll out the tanks. Get rid of Tannehill, and thus you have a prove-it year for Malik Willis.
Yeah.
So, is that going to happen?
But that would work so well because if Malik sucks,
you're
our
gonna
offensive
be in great
line
position,
sucks,
yes,
you're going to get the
draft
number 1
next
pick.
year. Yes.
Guess who's available? Caleb Williams.
And May from North Carolina, yeah.
What's his name? Drake May, Derek May, something May.
I want to say Drake May.
Anyway, I don't know. or any other quarterbacks at the number 1 pick. I don't know if it's supposed to be a down year for quarterbacks.
Drake May, yeah.
Next year or not, but if you suck, you suck. And you get higher picks. But you know that your 3rd, 4th round pick from last year is no good. Or he turns out to be serviceable. He turns out to be a starter. Now guess what? I don't have to waste a 1st round pick on a quarterback.
At least for that particular year.
Yeah. You have to have a proof. Again, I caveat it with saying this. Maybe Mike Vrabel and the offensive coordinator, genius Tim Kelly, maybe they see Malik and they're like, I don't know why John Robinson drafted this guy. He ain't a quarterback. You know what I mean?
Well, Vrabel seemed happy when we picked to Malik Willis. Compare that to the frustration of us trading away A.J. Brown.
Yeah, exactly. Pulling up his pants like, oh, I'm so going to punch John in the face when the cameras aren't looking. Oh, my goodness.
So, just to compare that, like those two, between trading away A.J. and drafting Malik, you can tell there's a big difference. But, for Malik Willis, he, again, didn't have any favors last year with Todd Downing, which I challenge anybody out there. Put any elite quarterback behind those circumstances that he was dealing with.
Yeah.
You're only going to get 1 more or 2 more wins from the whole year.
I mean, you look at Tom Brady, arguably the best quarterback that's ever walked this earth.
Down year last year, yeah.
Down year because they didn't have
good offense.
Well, they didn't have their head coach, Bruce Arians, because he was the heart and soul of that offense, really. And I didn't like him as a person. I think we would argue more, if we were ever have a beer together. But he knew an offense, and he could get that. And I think that's why they were successful. You remove him, a good offensive coordinator from there, and we know Leftwich is not a good offensive coordinator. I mean, he's not. Because if you were, you have Tom Brady, you would have gone back to the Super Bowl.
To think he turned down the Jacksonville head coaching job last year.
Man, I wish he would have got that gig.
Now it's going to be a long while before he gets a head coaching job.
What is the Jaguars? Come on, man. They can't be good for that long.
Hey, you never know. You never know. So where realistically this is going to head? Vrabel is going.
Well, we need to make predictions, and then this time next, or at the end of the season, we need to see how far off we are.
Well, my prediction last year was bang on, in my opinion.
Oh, you're going to say that, but do we know that? Do you have proof?
Yes. Just check my socials.
Okay.
Check my socials.
Your socials. I don't go on socials.
And I've told you this last year, is that I think 2022 is going to be what I call a flyer year. It could be good, it might be great, or it could go the opposite way.
Man, that's like saying, well, we could finish undefeated, or we could finish 10-7, or we could finish 1-16.
But what's the end goal?
Come on, man. You got to pick something.
But what's the end goal? My end goal was, no matter where we were, if we miss the playoffs, we're going to miss the playoffs. If we make the playoffs, my prediction never was we're going to win games or go to the Super Bowl. I say we're going to be one and done. That's the roster we had. We're not going to go anywhere. So
yeah, but you still hedged your bets.
Better to miss the playoffs, especially the way we ended last year. Yeah. We had the 11th pick instead of the 19th pick. Yeah. So
you still hedged your bets. You cheated.
So realistically, Vrabel, again, Tim Kelly, this is his hire. This is his A.J. Brown moment.
His only saving grace is that he was good with the Texans with Deshaun.
Yeah.
And even without Deshaun, they were serviceable. The offense was. So
they were good that one year.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
They were decent with that 1 year with Davis Mills when he was the OC there after, Deshaun was
Davis Mills not a bad quarterback. I don't know that he's a starter. He's kind of like old boy from the Commanders. What's his name?
Taylor Heineke.
Good quarterback. I just don't know if he's a starter material.
Great backup.
Outstanding backup. Yeah, I'll take him as a backup. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of like a Neil O'Donnell back in the Steve McNair days.
Yep. Again, we'll find out where we ultimately are. If we trade away Derrick Henry this offseason, that's a clear sign to the fans, to the players, to the philosophy of this offense. we are changing it up. We're not run first anymore.
Well,
or if we are, we're not going to be as effective going forward.
From a financial standpoint, though, you got to put butts in seats, and you don't have a Tannehill. He doesn't draw as many, but if you don't have a Henry, you're not going to have as many butts in the seats.
That's going to be the sacrifice they're going to have to deal with.
I'm saying you got to make a splash somewhere. Offensive line is not sexy. You can have elite offensive line signings and drafts. No one's going to come watch number 77 block somebody, right? They're going to see somebody pass or run, or intercept, right? So without Henry, I mean, we're bare bones. I mean, we got some nice players, Simmons, Tiratara, we got Kevin Byard, right? We got some nice corners, a couple of them, not all of them.
They're good. They're serviceable enough. They're not we have to get rid of them. No,
but we don't have any elite star players other than Henry and Simmons. Really, I mean, those are our 2-star elite players. Byard's on that like 1B, 1A and 1B. So if you get rid of them, I don't know who unless you start winning. I mean, everybody loves a winner, right? And you solve all your problems by winning. But if you're not winning, who are you going to come pay your money to see?
Exactly.
Without Henry there. And even if Henry's there, if you're losing, are you really going to come spend $200 on a ticket, right? Parking, fighting traffic, concessions for, it's $20 for a hot dog or whatever it is. I mean, are you really going to do that as a fan? No, you're not. That's what I say. I was like, Julie asked me, what game you want to see the Titans this year? I'm like, I don't know if they're going to win this year. Exactly. I'm not spending money to go watch them lose.
More so with me. Yeah, you're not going to spend money with me. So.
Well, yeah. Josh has never seen the Titans win in person.
Winless. I'm undefeated going to see Grizzlies games, though.
Yeah, you are.
4-0.
All right. Stick to basketball, buddy.
A great 4-0 record.
Stay away from the Titans.
Picking my Grizzlies games.
Okay.
Realistically, Mike Vrabel is going to be so stubborn about this. He's going to try to run this back. He's going to defend his staff. He hired in-house again with his OC. Until actions this offseason say otherwise, these two are going to be back. And this is going to be a lame duck year. This is going to be their send-off year. Mm-hmm. Tannehill's going to be walking. It's going to be tough to re-sign Derrick Henry because we don't know if he's going to want a massive contract.
Yes.
If he really wants to stay in Tennessee, then he has to be reasonable with his money because look at what the Dallas Cowboys are doing with Ezekiel Elliott right now. Yes. They wish they didn't pay him all that money for the production he's doing. They're going to try running back, and it's going to be to the detriment to the future of this franchise because with them running back and you're going to win 7, 8-ish games like we did last year, 7-10 record. Mm-hmm. Chances are you're not going to get like a top 10, top 11 pick like we are this year because of tiebreakers, we do have the 11th pick. On a normal year, we'd probably be getting the 13th, 14th, 15th pick in the draft. So for the sake of this franchise, they need to roll out the tanks. They need to trade Derrick Henry, cut or trade Tannehill. And even though Rand Carthon wants to stay there with smiles on his face saying, like, you don't go into the interview room and say, hey, here's how you tank. It's like, no, you don't. No, you don't say those words, obviously. You probably don't say those exact words. You probably go in there and say, hey, what do all these other teams with winning aspirations have? They have their franchise quarterback. So here is the plan to get our franchise quarterback. Whether it be this year trading up or preparing ourselves for next year to trade up. And here's how we prepare for next year. We're going to have to cut some of our players, and we're going to have to trade away some of our players. Some we will keep and re-sign. It seems like the vast majority of our defense, we're going to try to remain intact for as long as we can with Jeff Simmons now. All the more likely to now be re-signed because I can't see us trading because that was our ultimate chess piece to get number 1 overall with the Bears in a potential trade with them, which ain't going to happen now. Cardinals, maybe that may be a different story. It depends on who the Panthers and Texans select. If one of them selects Anthony Richardson, then one has to imagine that Carthon's on the phone with the Cardinals GM, like, hey, here's Derrick Henry. Like, you're gonna offer Derrick Henry first before you do Jeff Simmons, and then your first round pick and maybe like a few mid round picks. It's not gonna be as expensive of jumping up to 3 compared to jumping up to 1, and so. Again, that's all going to be key if one of the top 2 teams is going to pick someone not named Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. If one of those two get out of the top two, you have to trade up to get one of those other ones, because then you're going to have a Zach Wilson situation on your hands to where, you have these top two quarterbacks, but the second best quarterback wasn't taken until after number 2.
C.J. Stroud doesn't make it out of top 2, guaranteed. Now, Bryce Young, they may say he's too small and therefore go with an A.R. Richardson because they got fooled by the pajama Olympics that was the combine, which is, to me, totally ridiculous. Other than your interviews and medicals, right, there is no reason to have a combine whatsoever. The tape on your game proves who you are, period. There has never been a college player that was mediocre in college, blew it up on a combine, and then went to the NFL to be a Hall of Fame player, or even a Pro Bowler. Ever, never. Name me one.
Josh Allen's the one everyone's going to be going to.
He won in college, albeit Division II. Was it North Dakota State or whoever he was playing with? Wyoming. Okay, so it's Division I. But still, that was Wyoming. But he was successfll there.
That's the one example.
But he because he wasn't mediocre in college.
Yeah, but Colin Cowherd rightly points this out on his show, is that whenever you bring up lackluster college and he wasn't rated as the top quarterback in the combine, is Josh Allen. It's that's one.
Oh yeah,
out of how many?
Yeah. No, I agree.
That's one out of how many? And just because it happened in recent memory doesn't mean it's going to happen again for a long while.
So my prediction is, if we don't go hot and heavy on offensive line, free agency, and also the draft, right? I'm saying, when I say hot and heavy, I mean we're spending money. We're signing the best players we can possibly get. We're drafting the best players for the offensive line. Not sexy, but needed, right? If we don't do that, then I'm saying the result is we're going to be a top 5. We're going to draft in the top 5. All of our coaching staff, minus Mike Vrabel, gone. I'm telling you.
You still think Vrabel's going to stay there?
I think that he's going to be given, I take that back. I think he's going to be another Mike Mularkey. Change your philosophy or change your coaching staff or you're gone. I think it's what's going to be. 100%.
I think if that was...
But Amy Adams loves her some Mike Vrabel. I'm telling you.
Well, she stuck her foot in his corner when she fired John Robinson mid-season.
She loves him. She loves Mike Vrabel.
She loved Mike Mularkey. Where did that get her?
I don't know.
What's his name? Mustache fellow on our...
that was Steve Underwood.
Yeah, Steve Underwood taught some sense into her, saying...
That dude had a Hall of Fame mustache.
Yeah. He talked some sense into her about Mularkey. He's like, he's not the coach. Yeah. Come on, he's not the coach.
I think everyone should be let go if we pick top 5 next year, because we didn't do what we should have done, and that is get rid of what you got. Now, if you pick top 5 and you got rid of everybody, I can run with that.
Yeah,
that's good, because you're saving up your eggs for 2024. Yeah. Right? But if you're going to run it back the same as you did last year, thinking you're going to get a different result, absolutely, you should be shown the door.
What Vrabel came from, not from the Belichick coaching tree, but he was coached by Belichick. What's Belichick's and the Patriots' famous philosophy?
Next man up.
I mean, that too.
Or do your job.
The main thing when it came to player personnel and off-season decisions is trade him one season early versus one season too late.
Yes.
And Derrick Henry's got at least one more good year left.
Get rid of him.
Yeah, get rid of him now while that market is somewhat hot, not cooled off yet. Next year, it will be cooled off, in my opinion.
But the only people that need a quarterback right now who aren't, I don't think there's a demand for Ryan Tannehill out there. The Jets don't want him. Raiders don't want him. The Saints already signed Derek Carr. I mean, who else is out there that needs a quarterback that's not drafting high? There isn't. That's just it. We're stuck with Ryan Tannehill. And I hate to say stuck with him because he is a good quarterback, but we don't know what Malik's going to offer. And we're not, and he can't put a team on his back and win. So maybe it's not all bad. I think we'll still pick in the top 5.
Yeah, realistically, we're probably going to, again, it's going to be, if we are left bare after this season, after we try to win because we want to be competitive and we want to try to win the AFC South, whoop-de-doo, we're winning the AFC South, but
we're not winning the AFC South.
You're not winning playoff games, or you're not winning
we're not winning the AFC South.
if that's what you're ultimately going to be doing this year, God forbid you do it and you somehow miraculously do it, and you're left to bear because of alien quarterback in Tannehill now, an old aging running back in Derrick Henry, you're going to be mortgaging your future to try to get your franchise quarterback from a even greater margin from trading up from 20 or 19 all the way up to 1 or 2.
Well, the thing that I think helps us is that we're not playing a first place schedule.
Second place schedule, yeah.
I know. I said we're not playing a first place schedule. So what I'm saying is that's our only saving grace. I still don't think we're going to finish anywhere. I think we'll be third in the South at best.
So who's fourth?
It's either going to be us, or given the choice between the Colts and the Texans, I'm going to say the Texans. Yeah. But with DeMeco Ryans, I don't know what he brings as far as offensive production with that team. I don't know. They're unknowns. But I do know the Titans, and they're no better than third in the AFC South in my mind as we speak.
In terms of, what I want to happen, they need to roll out the tanks. Make this a prove-it year for Malik Willis. Like, if you want to be competitive, give Malik. I mean, I'm not saying he deserves the shot. Like, he's earned that shot. No, but he was rated as a top 10 quarterback for a reason. He had to be rated top 10, overall player in last year's draft for a reason.
It was a weak quarterback class, though.
But still, he was as high as number 2 to be picked up in the draft last year, and then he came to us in the 3rd round. So, in any GM's eye, if you have a player that was by some scouts or analysts saying, hey, this was almost a potential number 1 overall pick that's in the 3rd round, late in the 3rd round, then you gotta take that. You gotta pull that trigger. So you can't fault John Robinson for that. And he was the 3rd quarterback off the board. Pickett win the 1st round, and then Ritter went to the Falcons in the 3rd round, and then Malik Willis in the 3rd round, in that order. Again, give Malik Willis a O-line, a competent receiving core, a competent offensive play caller, and see if he does well. If he doesn't, then you know what.
Yes.
Then you know what awaits you in 2024, and just play towards that essentially. Yeah. So,
the Colts ran it with Jacoby Brissett. At least you knew what Jacoby Brissett was then.
Yeah. Because I cannot see us doing. What? I just lost my train of thought. Shoot. I cannot see Tennessee. Oh, yeah. I cannot see us cutting Malik Willis.
No.
That's a guaranteed contract for 4 years. No. He's at least your backup.
Yeah.
At the least. So, another player that's on the free agent docket, it didn't show. Josh Dobbs. Bye.
Super Bowls.
I don't need you.
Josh Dobbs is your quarterback. You're winning Super Bowls.
Please clarify that statement. Jeez. We'll end this podcast.
That was sarcasm.
God,
I like Josh Dobbs, UT alum. I love him.
That's the only reason that he has love from the Titan fandom is balls.
He's a good guy. He's a legitimately good guy. Smart as a whip. But I just
not a good
some people are good quarterbacks, some people aren't. He's not a good quarterback.
But folks want to project. There's the irony of all that. There's folks that want to project that Malik Willis can do good, and then there are those that crucify Malik Willis that do the exact same thing for Joshua Dobbs when we signed him.
Yeah.
So practice what you preach.
Well,
so
it's just
don't say like Malik Willis is bad and then say, oh, Joshua Dobbs is good. It's like politics. It's like, oh, you can't be spending that much money and then when you do your own stuff and control Congress, you're spending that money. It's like, wait a minute, you said with your mouth don't spend this money, and yet you're saying with your actions you're spending that money. So that's the kind of set the Titan fans I could not stand last year. It's like
that was last year. Move on. Yeah. Let it go. In the words of Elsa.
They are.
Is that right? Let it go.
Yes.
No.
Yeah. It's let it go.
Okay. Yeah. Let it go. Let it go, Josh. Moving on.
You remember Zootopia?
Yeah.
That little ox of a police chief.
Yes.
He dropped that line. It's like, life is no cartoon show where everyone is happy, and his last line is like, so let it go.
I like the DMV sloth.
Sloss.
I like him.
How may I help you? That was pretty much how Todd Downing did his play calling. It seemed like.
Oh, I like that. No, I literally think he was like, he had a scratch piece of paper and he was like, let's just throw some plays on here in the middle of the game. Let me look at it. Let's try that one. I mean, nothing else has worked, so that one couldn't do any worse. Or if Jeff Swaim was in, all plays must go to Jeff Swaim
over Austin Hooper and Chico Conquo. That mean why?
Or better yet, let's put Malik in and let's do a trick play that he's probably never practiced, but maybe twice, and let's see if that works. Yeah, let's try that.
Yeah, twice turnovers. I remember that game that happened against the Broncos. I'm like,
and continuity is not a good thing.
The one time, yes, in-house hiring. So, he had the one.
Always.
He had the one botch against the Colts at home, and then he had the botch play against the Broncos. Like the one against the Broncos, they showed the cameras on him on the sidelines. And I'm like, and you can just see his face of like, and I'm sitting there, I'm watching it like, it's hard not to feel for him. It's like.
Yeah.
That man is destroyed. His confidence is destroyed. Yeah. Do not run another trick play with Malik Willis. He is not a gadget quarterback like a Taysom Hill or what the Jets tried to do with Tim Tebow.
Yeah, Troy Aikman and Peyton Manning, they only won one game their first year, so they got beat up. Their confidence was, I don't want to say shaken, but it was tested.
Yeah. Peyton Manning led the league in interceptions.
So I mean, it's not over. It's just, but they had a good coaching staff and they had a good supporting cast around the quarterback.
Yeah, we'll see what this future holds for Tennessee. Not very grim and dark, in my opinion, but we will
at least this season.
Yeah, this season. Hopefully, in 2024, we're having rose petals and. dancing on rainbows.
Dynasty.
With next year's draft.
Back to back. 24, 25, 26 champions. Tennessee Titans.
Right on cue for the new stadium to open up.
Yeah.
Never going to happen.
Need to change our uniforms again.
Oh, by the way, what do you think of the Oilers throwback? We're going to be
Love it.
Supposedly wearing at home versus the Texans.
Love it. For a multitude of reasons. Stick it to Houston, Texans. Plus, the Oilers uniform is arguably one of the best uniforms ever. The color combinations, the simplicity, it was just awesome. I love it. I mean, yeah, the number fonts could use a little updating, but it's classic, and it is absolutely, there's nothing not to love about the Oilers uniform, especially when it was all Columbia blue. Look at that, man. Look at that. Come on. You can't look at that and say that's an ugly uniform. That is beautiful. Columbia blue. Look at Warren Moon calling out the play. It's 4, hot route. Look. Who's that, Munchak?
No, that was Matthews.
Matthews. Munchak was on the other side, wasn't he? Yeah. Somewhere. Anyway, that and when they wore the blue, all blue. Oh, man. Come on. You can't. Come on, man. And their 60s powder blue helmet was also nice with the white oil derrick.
Yeah, their initial helmet that we actually wore back in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
So
beautiful, beautiful, beautiful uniform.
I have an appreciation for it. I'm not saying I hate it. I have an appreciation for it, but the era that it's in needs to stay in that era.
What era? What are you talking about? What's
like
wrong
the number font is...
It's classic.
Keyword, classic.
The Kansas City Chiefs have the same font.
They still have their AFL logo on their shirt.
What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? You said you were a traditionalist. Let's own up to it.
There are some teams that are not traditionalists and shouldn't be.
So you probably like the Bucks digital clock font.
No, that was so ugly.
You lie. You lie.
That was so ugly.
You like that stuff.
That was so ugly of a font.
You probably want it to blend. You would rather have that number be powder blue too, so you couldn't even see it.
No. Follow me here. I wish this screen was like a draw board right now.
Okay.
Now I wish this was a draw board.
Okay.
So I'm going to try to convince you to say.
Let's go, Madden. Draw on the screen.
Not on this screen. So swap out this number with a number font that we have right now.
Okay.
Just visualize that.
Our number font needs to be thicker, though, by the way.
It is
Amy
thicker.
Adams.
It is.
Make it happen.
It is thicker.
It needs to be thicker than it is.
Even
it was
more-
really skinny when it first came out. They thickened it, and it's still too skinny.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Follow me here. The number font is the sword-esque kind of font that represents Tennessee.
It's the Tennessee State.
Exactly, the Tennessee State.
See, the numbers go like that. Swoop.
Yeah. So imagine the number fonts like that.
Yes.
Now, for the logo,
Yeah.
I mean for the helmet.
Yeah.
Imagine that's like not a chrome. Think of it like a silver helmet per se.
Shiny.
Not too shiny. Like it has a reflection of sorts on it. Now imagine that. Yes, I love the red face mask.
Are you still saying the Oiler uniform, though?
Yes, I'm talking about like say if I was the uniform designer for the throwback.
Okay, everything you're saying is sacrilege right now because you can't do that to the Oiler uniform. You want to do it to the Titans uniform, fine, but you can't do it to this uniform. Everything you're saying is sacrilege. As a matter of fact, you need to be burned at the stake for saying, even thinking it.
The numbers have to be on the shoulders.
I agree.
Take that off the
I
sleeve.
agree.
Take
I would
it-
agree with
take
that.
it off the sleeve, put it
on
the shoulders now.
Yes. Got you.
You
there.
had that.
Yes. And maybe some coloration around the.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then
Like that, just skinnier around here.
and the stripe on the leg. Do something else with that. Just
What's wrong with it? It's not a stripe. There's four.
There's two
There's
stripes.
5 stripes. Red, white, blue, white, red. That's 5.
3 colors essentially.
It's 5 stripes.
Do something else creative with that. That's all I ask.
What do you want to do?
Do something.
You want to put a barcode on it? What?
I don't know. I'm just saying. There are better creative
big
things to
QR
do.
code on the hip, maybe. I mean, what do you mean? Do what with it? It's a stripe.
Here's what you can do. Like that little oil rig right here.
It's an oil derrick.
The oil derrick. I don't know my logos these days.
You obviously
No, I
don't.
So you
I
have
didn't
to,
raise you right.
here's the oil
Derrick.
derrick. Here's the oil derrick. Instead of pointing up the way it is, maybe on the leg here you have that same design that goes down, essentially. It's not tilting up, it's not tilting down. It's just it's that same rectangular thing of that design.
So you want the oil derrick on the leg.
Like a straight thing on the leg.
Like a skinny oil derrick? Oil derricks are
Big
made
enough-
like
big
this.
enough for you to see
They're
it.
made like this.
Big enough for you to see it.
Okay. So if you put that on the knee,
Not
it's
the
going
knee.
to wrap around the whole knee.
Not the knee.
Because that's going to be at the hip. I'm sorry, folks, that you got to listen to this. Please feel free to either turn it off or tune out.
It's not. I'd say it's not going to be tilting out. It's going to be tilting out. It's going to be it's just going to be straight line down the leg. You're going to have the
Crisscross pattern.
Yeah, you're going to have the crisscross pattern going down the leg.
Stupid.
And you'll still have those same colors right there.
Stupid.
You'll still have those same colors.
Stupid.
Bring these 2 stripes in.
Closer. I got it.
bring
I
those-
agree.
bring those in- bring those
make
in
it
closer.
A solid, thick blue or red. I agree with that
Exactly.
too. So the only thing I agree with, put the number on the shoulder and make this thicker. One color, or keep them all, but put them in and make them thicker. Got it. I'm on board
Yeah.
with those 2 changes, and only those. I thought that the Titans uniform that we have now would look better with a sword going down instead of this funky little. I don't know what is that.
That's like a pocket knife. I assume that to be a pocket knife.
Like maybe a scabbard where you put your sword. I don't know.
Yes.
So I would say put a sword, like you would have the handle here, and then the sword would come down.
That's
right?
what the shoulders are right here, though.
Yeah. So why not have it on the leg? I don't get that. And the numbers are too skinny.
That's not too skinny.
They are.
That's not too skinny. So
When your number is 11,
If
like
there's-
AJ Brown, it looks stupid.
if there is a switch I want or need to happen,
Get rid of the flaming thumbtack.
that too. Yeah, that was gonna be. Yeah, that's number 1.
Make it a sword.
Make the secondary logo the primary logo.
Yes.
and then the face mask. Make that more of a like the Buccaneers. They had like a chrome-esque face mask. Like have it in that vein because it's a sword. You're representing the face mask of like the sword
I got it.
color of the reflection and whatnot.
But if you do that,
The sword
the
logo.
sun's going to reflect in your eyes off your face mask. You can't have that for a quarterback or receiver.
Someone else also has those same face masks
Not
too.
not chrome. Not
I mean,
chrome
it's not
face masks.
chrome, but it's like a false chrome.
Yeah.
Obviously, thumbtack, get rid of that.
Yes. It's so dumb.
I like the idea of the blue. It's maybe
needs to
I'm
be
missing
matte.
the white helmet. Maybe I'm missing the white helmet right now.
It
Maybe
needs to be matte, not shiny. It needs to be
I
a
agree.
matte helmet.
Yeah, I agree with
Matte
that.
blue. Matte blue with the sword.
Mm-hmm.
You can still have the emblem on the hilt of the sword,
Yeah.
right? And have it tilted either way, doesn't matter. So you can still have this the state flag logo and colors there. Just get rid of the dang comet. I hated that. I never liked that comet, the flaming thumbtack. It looks dumb. I understand why, but it's just dumb.
And
Amy Adams, are you listening? Dang.
hey, maybe someone is. And I know how you feel about this. What they need to do for an alternate. Oh, here's a question for you. Would you rather have the Oilers throwback uniform being worn, or option 2,
Red jersey.
They create the red
Jersey all day long. All day
Yes.
long, red jersey. Are you kidding me? That would be, I don't know why they haven't done it yet. That would look so, man, that would be
Talk
on
about that
fire
talk
if
about
they
that
had
for a
a
second.
red jersey.
Talk about that for a second. I'll pull it up on the screen.
Because we had the red jersey for the old Titans. Oh, man, that is sharp. Man, come on. You can't look at that and say that's not, that is 100% on fire. Look at that. Are you kidding me? You can't look at that and say that's not bad. That's not hot.
King Henry
I ain't
rocks
talking about
that.
him. I'm talking about his jersey.
I know, but him rocking it would be
Oh, man. Come on.
amazing.
That's-
Amazing.
And would make it even better if we had red pants, but I'll take
No.
the red.
That's going to be.
But that
too far.
jersey is
That's going
that
a bit too
jersey's
far.
on fire.
That's going to be
I
too
love
much.
that jersey.
That's going to be too much red.
I'd spend $200 on that jersey. Man, look, he must be cold. See his chicken skin? He's out there cold. But yeah, give me a red jersey.
Red.
Amy Adams, red jersey, all day long.
So even you would pick this over your classic. Yeah.
Well, that's permanent. We would have it. The throwback is only one game.
What about the idea of a silver, like a gray alternate away one?
Our white ones are not really white. They're kind of off-white. So it's kind of, to me, it's, no. It's not.
Someone did a
drastic.
concept with Corey Davis a few years ago, and the swords were more defined on the shoulders, and it was like gray elsewhere for top and bottom, and it actually looks slick. And for that to be like a road jersey,
We can only
do
have
that. You can
X
do
amount
that.
of jerseys, though. Home, away, alternate. That's it. And your throwback.
We hardly wear.
Thanks,
our throwbacks,
NFL. Why can't we be like college? Why can't we just get? I mean, why?
NBA
Why
does
not?
it every single year. The
Yeah.
NBA does it every single year.
Why not NFL? You would make money. That's more money to be made at the uniform shop. Come on, really? I don't understand why you don't do that. So long as you're not messing with player equipment safety, who cares what it looks like?
That's the only thing the NBA has over the NFL and all other sports. The jerseys, the advertisements, like the presentation of the jersey and the uniform, because they do alternates for a whole slew of teams. Not every team, but a whole slew of NBA teams every single year. And just when I think like, okay, we got navy blue, light blue, and we got white for the Grizzlies, and then you have like an alternate somewhere. Like we have
city jerseys.
We have black and gold. Those city jerseys are stupid. Those
Yeah,
are like
there's
those
a
are
lot
net.
that are kinda funky.
Those are like our version of the Brooklyn Nets when it's like black and white. Come on.
I'm not a big fan of them either.
Yeah, those are the ones.
Some look nice, but some are just janky looking, man.
I could do without. I could do without that black and white Brooklyn Nets wannabe jersey. But come on, look at that. That's
sweet.
him scoring a touchdown on that.
He doesn't have a beard.
No, I mean,
Who is that?
He's got a little bit of goatee.
Really?
Yeah.
I never known him to have that. Okay. Anyway,
Come on, that's
this part sponsored by no one. Sponsor us.
all right. All right, we'll go ahead and call this a day. With
It's
the
only been
podcast.
2 hours. My God, who's watching this for 2 hours?
Some folks from church,
Some
actually.
some sad individual who's just really really lonely right now, watching us for 2 hours. Are you kidding me?
Well, me and Marcus went for 2.5 hours.
Oh my gosh.
We got in deep conversations with that. We got deep with that.
Deep.
So you prefer the red over the classic. So
1A, 1B.
yeah. All right, so we'll close this out. I'll say this to you, like, thank you for being here. Thank you for traveling here. We'll definitely have you on in the future via webcast for sure, since we have that capacity now.
Do I get paid for this?
No.
No?
It's just on the side.
I was getting paid.
That was a funny interaction with the fellow we were waiting in line for concessions at the game. It's like,
Yeah, he had a few too many.
he's like, you have a...
There was a guy in line who had a few too many during halftime of the Grizzly game last night, and he had an Oilers jacket on. So you had to give him context. Turned around and started talking to Josh about
the podcast, and he's like, you have almost 10,000 views. You do this on a regular. I'm like, no. I'm too busy to do this on a regular, and I hardly have anything to talk about if this was every day. I'd be like, okay, what's going on in the weather today?
Well, normally people do it every day. They only do like 15, 20-minute episodes. You do a novel.
There are those that do 2+ hours every single day.
Every day?
But they get
No.
but they have sponsors, and they have a whole wider knowledge.
That is their job.
A whole wider knowledge of that. And it is their job.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you for being here.
My pleasure. I hope that I did the fans, justice. Feel free to leave a comment below and like the video and subscribe.
Yep. Thank you for the shameless plug. This is my father, Jack Pearson Mickle III, Jack Mickle, and my name's Joshua Mickle. Like you said, comment, subscribe to this video, and there's nothing much.
You got to have a catchphrase at the end.
I do.
Come up with a catchphrase.
I do. It's called signing off. It's
signing off. You got to have a catchphrase.
Okay. What's your catchphrase?
I don't know. Like who used to say it in Memphis? Sports guy. I forget. He was on Sports Talk. He said, "Be safe, be good, rep your hood," or something like that. I forget what his name was, but he was a Memphis sports. He was on the. Yeah, he would always talk about Memphis sports. I don't know if he's still on
Frazier.
the radio.
Frazier. No. I'm saying giving an example, like Frazier is like, good day and good mental health.
Yes. You need something. You need a hook. You need to come up with a hook.
Maybe
Matter of fact, comment below on what a good hook, sign-off hook would be for Joshua. I think that would be a great something you need. You need that way you can just say, this is Josh Mickle and blah, 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 blah.
All right.
Then barcode. Boo. Yeah. No.
A lot of this stuff in here, I have to thank for this man to help him get for me, so I can't be dissing on him too much.
It's the only way to get him out of my house. I had to get him something.
Or it's that's not true.
That is true.
All right. This is Jack Mickle. Finally, we're gonna end it here. This is Jack Mickle, and my name is Joshua Mickle, and for our 13th episode of Casted to King, sign off.